live. How's it going?
Doing good, man. How about you?
Oh, not so bad, not so bad. I'm glad the weekend is finally here. It's a long weekend for us here in Canada. I don't know about you in the States.
Same here. 4-day weekend.
4-day weekend, nice. We get 3 days.
We're taking an extra one. Sheena has Tuesday off.
Okay.
Normal for her regular days. Yeah, it's a normal. I was reading the chat. Mr. Robert's funny.
Yeah, I was just gonna say hi. Marilyn, Little Homestead by the Beach is here. Robert, Homestead Aquarius is here. Where to Begin Homestead, thank you very much for dropping by. Jerry's here. Carp's Homestead. Where to Begin Gardening Warrior Q is here as well. Awesome. Why don't you present yourself for the new viewers out there?
First off, hey there, Where to Begin Homestead. I'm in South Louisiana. My name's Danny, Cajun Hydroponics. We have right at 1,500 square feet of hydroponic greenhouses that we use for growing tomatoes. We have dragon fruit. We just purchased an 1.5 acres that we're looking to turn into kind of like a small farm with blackberries, regular garden stuff. We're looking at putting blueberries, fig trees, a lot of things like that. Have 4 kids, 3 girls and a little boy, wife, and the older kids don't get involved much. They just stop by daddy's house to pick up the vegetables they want. But that's pretty much, a little snippet of what we got going on. A couple dogs.
That's pretty cool. Your son is involved a little bit. I saw him in one of the videos today.
He likes that. He's 6, just made 6 a couple months back, and he likes making videos during the school year. He tells his friends about the videos and everything, and they think he's a movie star, and that's what they tell him right now. In first grade, he's a movie star doing YouTube. So he's like, we need to go out and make videos. What you want to make a video on? I don't know. So yeah, he likes it. He's a good help when he wants to help, likes pulling grass and everything. Really, really interesting, following with him.
Well, that's fun. Like he's talking to his friends, but I'm pretty sure you go through the same thing. Like I was at the gas station a few days ago, was telling that to Robert today. There's a guy there that I know that owns a little fishing shop around. And he's like, well, I watched your video on the tomatoes last week. I didn't know you needed to cut the flowers at this time of year. I'm like, well, it helps, like we have the cold coming and you're not going to get the fruits. So might as well cut them and force the plant to focus on the fruits that it already has.
Yep.
Like, well, that's very good to know. Like, it's my first time growing tomatoes, and that's a good tip. And like I told Robert, that's like, it was just one person, but that makes a big difference for that person. And it's one person at a time that we're going to get. Like, we get them educated, and then they can go and show other people. And I'm sure you get the same thing. Like you were telling me that people now start to recognize your shirt and who you are.
Not so much for the YouTube channel, because we don't advertise that we have the YouTube. We do have some of the people. I like growing the tomatoes and everything in the hydroponic. I actually love it. I love the way it grows. Everything about it, the flavors and everything. It's actually almost turned into a business, and it's working it. It was so much because we don't have. Next year we're going to put up I'm building a trailer to where it's going to be self-serve. That way we don't have to deal with the people as much. People stop and they see me outside working in the greenhouse and they stop. They'll buy tomatoes, and then they're like, well, they want to visit. So it's time consuming, and with everything we have going on and getting, I can't do anything in the morning from basically 5:30 till 8 when Colt gets on the bus. So if I wake up early, I go outside, I piddle around and stuff like that. Then as soon as he gets on the bus, I start doing things. And if people will stop a couple times, they want to visit, they'll stay an hour. A lot of the people's older, so it's interesting talking to them, and I don't want to. I don't want to have to push them away, So I like visiting with the older people around here. And I end up visiting more than I'm working. So it has turned into something a little bit more than we expected. uh, with the new property we have, because we couldn't keep up, even with 1,500 square feet of greenhouse, we made close to 1,800 pounds of tomatoes this year between the three of them. And that's just the large tomatoes. We didn't even weigh the cherry tomatoes because they just made so much. We didn't even pick them; they were falling. But we made close to 1,800 pounds of tomatoes between the three greenhouses, and we ate all we wanted, saved everything we wanted, but we still couldn't keep up with the demand, the people wanting them. Um, you know, we sold last year at $2 a pound just to get back enough money to be able to buy the fertilizer and everything. And we did the same thing again this year. And we actually, with the cost of the fertilizer going up, we did make enough to be able to, the fertilizer. It basically doubled from last year, the fertilizer we use for the greenhouse.
Cool. Just for the people that might be that don't have the same knowledge or might be dumb like me, why don't you just explain a little bit what hydroponic is? Like, I know it's about growing stuff in the water, but that's pretty much all I know.
I don't grow with just water. The system I use is called a Dutch bucket system, and it's a recirculating system. Basically, I have a tank in the ground that has a fertilizer solution in it. We mix the fertilizer solution, and it goes in the tank. The pump will kick on, multiple times a day. At the beginning of the season, it's 3 times for 15 minutes. Just depends where you're at in the situation in the growing season with how many times it kicks on. But you mix your fertilizer in the tank, and it pumps out the tank into the buckets, which in the 5-gallon buckets, we have a paint strainer, and we're filled with Purolite in it. Put the tomato in it, and then it pumps into there. It drains. It keeps about 1.5 inches, 2 inches of the fertilizer solution in the bottom of the bucket. Then it actually runs over and returns back. It's a recirculating system.
That's pretty cool.
It has been a lot of work, a lot of redos on it. I have Pop's Place, which was my first greenhouse. When I decided to start growing in the greenhouse over here when Colt was born, I left that one over there so that he can use it. And we've made changes to it as we've gone to be able to save space, save time. And each one of the 3 greenhouses I have now, it's slightly different as I built them. I didn't build all 3 at the same time. So as I built one and used it, I was able to see, what I did wrong or what I thought I could do better. And it's actually the third one is, if I build more, eventually that's how I want to build them, similar to what I did the third one.
Cool. And like, how did you get to start doing it that way? Is it because you read somewhere that it was better, was easier, was just something different that you wanted to try? Like,
kind of a backstory. I was divorced for a while, started dating a girl, and she was really into gardening and everything. So I started gardening, and I really enjoyed it. It had been years since we had done any type of garden. This is about 13 years ago. We got into gardening. I liked it and everything. Then it didn't work out, but I ended up taking a job that was supposed to be 6 to 8 weeks in Ohio, and I ended up spending almost 3 years out there where I met my wife. But the hydroponics, Mr. Robert. While I was up there, the job I had when I started was really busy. Then it got to the point that they didn't want me out in my truck. I was observing, or I needed to be on location, but they didn't want me physically working. So I started watching videos, the Bayou Gardener, the old Bayou Gardener forum. I found that, started watching Mr. Donald's videos. Then I found MHP Gardener, and that's where kind of got the taste of the hydroponics. Started watching his videos, and by the time I came back from Ohio, I was, just ready to do it, put that into use and start trying it, see how it worked out. And you got a lot of naysayers. People around here is like, oh, you can't grow in a greenhouse in Louisiana. It's not going to grow. Hydroponics doesn't taste good. And The when your grandma tells you that the tomatoes are good out of a greenhouse, the hydroponics, it's good. My grandmother, she was in a nursing home. She didn't want to stay with any of the kids or grandkids. So she was in a nursing home, and it was actually where Sheena was working. So Sheena would bring her tomatoes from the garden. But when we ran out of the tomatoes from the garden, we told her I got some from the greenhouse. She's like, "Oh no, I don't want that. Hothouse tomatoes taste nasty." I'm like, "Well, just try them." Nope. So we waited a while. About a week later, Sheena brought the tomatoes in, and she ate the tomatoes. She's like, "Oh my God, this is some of the best tomatoes I've ever eaten." And so that really put it at the point where we knew that was some good tomatoes, and we really
Cool.
started pushing forward with it.
And do you only do hydroponics, or do you have like in-ground garden as well?
Well, I have raised beds in the backyard. I didn't show them because it's been bad. The soil I got wasn't good to start with. We're actually in the process. We're going to take down the raised beds in the backyard and bring the piping and everything out to the property to be able to use. We have a hoop that's set up with a walkthrough for cucumbers and everything. We're going to set that up at the property or the farm also. I want to leave. It's not going to be raised beds, so say, but we're going to the fencing and the piping and everything is going to be, fixtures. We're not going to be taking that in and out every year and tilling with the tractor. But yeah, we do have raised beds, and they didn't do well at all. I spent a lot of time, a lot of effort building it with the walkthroughs, and actually bent the pipe for the walkthroughs with the for the cucumbers to be able to grow up and over, and it never worked out. The soil wasn't good. No matter how much fertilizer we put, it wasn't real good.
I just want to say a quick hi to Marshall. Thank you very much for dropping by. Redbird Farm. Thank you for being here. Marilyn, little homestead by the beach. If you have a second, can you share Danny's channel, please? The funny thing is, you're telling me that you tried the cucumbers in ground, but that would be like the one thing I would probably try growing hydroponics, because it's basically made of water, right?
Well, yes, and let's see. When you're doing hydroponics, especially in a greenhouse, if you're doing it outside, it's not as big an issue. But when you're growing in a greenhouse, the main thing you look at is the production per bucket or per square foot. So, and the amount of maintenance with it. So if you can grow, like over here in the fall and the wintertime, we can grow cabbage, very little issues. So if you take a cabbage and you plant it in the greenhouse, it's going to be there for 90 to 130 days, depending on the variety of cabbage. And all you're going to get out of it is like 3 or 4 pounds of cabbage, maybe 8 or 10 pounds of cabbage, but it's still right there. That's all you're going to get. If you put a tomato plant in it, you might end up with 15, 20 pounds of tomatoes out of that bucket, depending on how long you're able to keep the plants going and everything. Same thing with broccoli. You plant broccoli and it does great. But the return on square footage really makes a difference. Now, yeah, and you do really well with cucumbers, but my job doesn't allow me, because cucumbers, there's a lot of maintenance when you're doing cucumbers in the greenhouse to keep them growing up the strings. You have to cut the suckers, you have to cut the tendrils, there's a lot of maintenance with it. So that's why we haven't done it. Also, that's why we're not doing it now. We've grown them before. In the area, we have a lot of sugarcane fields, which is like basically a breeding ground for aphids. Aphids love being in sugarcane fields. So no matter what we do, we really can't keep up with the amount of aphids in the greenhouse. And they just tear up the cucumber plants.
Yeah, they've been working hard on my apples and a lot of my plants, really. Like I didn't know about them until this year, and for some reason they were already in my the soil that I purchased from the store. So it was a big surprise for me. Like, how is that in the house?
Yep. I want to make a comment about where to begin. growing it, a lot of people think that, they're going to get a greenhouse, they're going to put a greenhouse up, and, they're going to grow these amazing, everything's going to be amazing in the greenhouse. And she's 100% correct. There's a huge learning curve because, you have an ideal growing situation for your plants and everything in the greenhouse, but you have an even better growing for pests, aphids, stink bugs. That there's a lot more pests you get in there, and it's the perfect environment for them, so they reproduce extremely fast compared to outside. So there's a huge learning curve. Also, with the amount of water you need, because out in the garden you put a whole bunch of water. In a greenhouse, you really have to monitor how much water you're putting if you're growing in the ground, because you can easily overwater, and it just doesn't leave as easy as it does outside because humidity inside the greenhouse. There's a lot that goes along with it.
I don't think I water my greenhouse at all this year. Like my daughter was doing it, like that was her task for the week there to take care of the greenhouse, and she did it until maybe like beginning of July, and then she stopped. And I think just the rain going under the greenhouse, like going in the soil, was
Yeah.
enough to get everything going because all I planted was cucumber melons that were simply overgrown by my tomatoes. The tomatoes took over, and they were like it
Well,
wasn't jungle in there.
it doesn't take long. Tomatoes get ridiculous fast. And
Yeah,
y'all have an ideal growing season over there. Once the snow finally melts, it's not long, but once it finally melts, y'all have the ideal temperatures and everything. It's it just rolls over there. I'm jealous. Not of the snow, but the tomato conditions to be able to grow tomatoes.
well, the thing is, up here, it's like I was telling someone, I don't remember who I was talking to. It's like you have the spring, but like winter, spring, you still have snow, but then it gets really, really warm. I might have been talking with you actually. It
Yeah,
gets really warm, and suddenly the snow is all melted, but it's already warm. Like you don't have like it's getting warmer, the snow melts, and then you have like temperature going up a little bit. No, it's just like it's cold. There's
yeah.
snow. It gets really, really warm. Then snow melts, but it's already warm. So you got to get your stuff going
You got to
because
keep
that's
going.
what it is.
Yeah, we basically have. We start off. I'll start off in like March. We'll say March. That's spring, and at that point, it's some good growing weather till April. Then we start getting up into the mid 80s. Then May it's mid 80s. So it's kind of up and down. But we basically have spring for about a month and a half, 2 months. Then you have summer. That's right there. Then the middle of July, beginning of August, it's hell. That's the easiest way to say it because it's 110 degrees and it's 100% humidity. You breathe in water. So your tomatoes don't pollinate. Well, your stuff doesn't pollinate because of the humidity in the air. The pollen doesn't move around well. The heat, there's just a whole bunch of things that's against you. And we deal with that. Now you can grow okra. Okra grows amazing in that, but we deal with that pretty much until the beginning of middle of September. And a lot of the times we'll have a good year to be able to for fall tomatoes if we can get them planted in early enough and keep them alive through the heat and beans. But it seems like a lot of times around the 1st of November, the first 2 weeks of November, we get a front that passes through, drops the temperature down in the 30s for 3 or 4 hours, and then we're back up in the 80s until January. So
That's insane. We usually we go moose hunting usually the last full week of September. This year I think it's from the 19th until the 23rd. I think it was back in 2015 on the first Tuesday, the first hunting day. It was 35 degrees Celsius, which is about 95 Fahrenheit.
oh
Like
wow,
you can't go hunting in those temperatures because even if you kill something,
it's
by
gonna
the
spoil.
time you get it out to the butcher, it's like you lost your meat. And then like 4 days later on Friday morning, it was snowing. It's,
We'll catch that. We'll get like we'll wake up and it's a joke all the time because you go to bed at night with your air conditioner on, then you got to put your heater on in the morning because it's in the 40s. It's 75, 80 degrees, and then you wake up in the morning and it's 40, 38, 45 degrees.
Yeah, and even in the spring, it's tough to gauge because, like, let's take for example, last year we had a heat wave at the end of April. So beginning of May, there was no snow left. I started planting my stuff like in the middle of May. This year, I still had snow like 25th, 26th of May. I still had snow in my garden. Like I couldn't plant anything. So it shows that like from one year to another, it's a whole different story.
Yeah.
Yeah, get a greenhouse going. That's true.
Yeah, the greenhouses are nice. Once you figure it out, and it makes a big difference in the area. It's not a one size fits all. Even as much as 100 miles difference can be a big difference in the growing conditions and the pests you're going to have in your greenhouses. So it's if you can find someone doing it in your area, close to you that's been doing it for a while, learn from them. Um, if not, there's going to be some growing pains with it.
I'm just gonna catch up quickly on the chat there. I have one just the roof now. The rain won't get, but the heat neither. Okay. Hello, Rens. Thank you for dropping by. It's been a while. You guys been busy. I gotta get to bed for. Okay, so you're leaving early, but yeah, they're training dogs and they have all kind of events going on. I'm gonna go hunting deer with them, so you'll probably see them in a few months. We're about 2 months away from deer hunting here. Take care, guys. Thank you for dropping by. Hello, Trevor. Can't wait till the snow is back. I plow for New Brunswick. I love plowing snow. Don't wish that on me. I hate snow.
Me too.
Thank you for dropping by, Trevor. Sub, but now gotta run, guys. I will definitely check him out. Right on. It's great. He has an awesome channel. Good night, little homestead. Okay, talking to each other. Greenhouse can be made so cheaply as well. The benefits and feelings that come with having one are well worth it. I purchased mine. It's only, I think it's 6x8 or 4x6, and it was only like $100 on sale at the end of the year, and I bought it for next year. And I have about 10 tomato plants in there, and like I said, it's a jungle, but I get tomatoes, so I can't complain. That's more tomatoes I've ever had.
I had bought a Harbor Freight greenhouse thinking I was going to grow in it. It was 6x8, and I put a couple tomato plants in there. It was 2 tomatoes for the wintertime just to see how they would grow in the hydroponics, and it's 6 feet tall in the middle. I couldn't even stand straight up in it. So it overgrew way before they even started flowering. So I pulled the tomatoes out, and we ended up using it. Put 2 sets of shelves in and around the back and everything, and we ended up using it to start the seeds. And we had about a half-acre garden out of the property where Pop's place is, and we started all the seeds in there for that, and it worked really well. Um,
Awesome.
Actually, my aunt, we were talking about my aunt that I bought that car from. I brought it to her place. She uses it to store her tropical. She grows a lot of tropical flowers and everything. She's using it to grow through the wintertime. She puts them in there.
And do you guys get a lot of snow in your area, or like? I mean, I know it's not as bad as here, but
No, not. We actually, I was in the 6th grade. The last time we had any snow that actually accumulated, and then 2 years in a row, Colt was maybe 18 months, and then around 2 years old, we had back-to-back years where they had a little bit of snow, but that's been the end of it. We haven't had anything.
you don't have to shovel. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Just not to have to shovel the snow. Like I was laughing a couple of years back. I was talking to one of my coworker, and we're both the same. We hate snow, and she was like, "I wonder where we could move that there's no snow." I'm like, "Well, we could go to Florida. They don't have snow." But she's like, "Well, they have alligators and spiders and snakes. Like, I don't like those things." I'm like, "You know what? Like, I don't like those things either. Let's just go down like an hour and a half and go to Miramichi and live there. Like, it's a little town like an hour and a half away from my place. They don't have as much snow, and they don't have those little critters. So it's
The alligators and the snakes and stuff is not bad. It's the mosquitoes. They're about the size of turkeys right now. So, I was cutting grass at the property today. One of them bit me on the back and it buckled my legs. It was just hurt. Yeah, it's bad right now with all the rain. When I was working in Ohio, I went up there. It was after the snow season. It was still cold, but it was the snow and stuff was done for the year. The first time I went up, when I first initially went up there, and the whole year they keep asking me, how you doing snow? I'm like, I tell you, the first 2 inches of snow is going to be, an inch more snow than I've seen all my life. And they would laugh thinking I was joking. And it ended up the first time it snowed, they called me like 10 o'clock in the morning. Where you at? I'm like, I'm at my apartment. There's snow all over the ground. I can't drive in this. So,
and that's a funny thing. Like I'm way Eastern Canada, and you have like Vancouver that's way Western Canada. And we keep laughing because they get like a few inches of snow and then everything is shut down. Like they don't go to work because it like 2 or 3 inches of snow. But here we get big snowstorm. We have like 1 or 2 feet of snow, and we still go to work, and it's just like just a regular day here in the winter.
that's how it was. It's like it took me a while to get comfortable driving in it, and we walking on the locations. We're building locations up in production in the oil field. We're building locations. I'm out there walking snow up to my knees. It's like cussing the whole time. This ain't my cup of tea at all.
Well, and people say if it's snowing, it's not as cold, but I don't agree, because when you go out shoveling, you get the snow in your face and your neck and your boots and your
start getting wet.
You start getting wet and you're freezing. It's cold. You don't like I don't like it. I'd rather have the minus 40s, no snow, than just snow, and we get the minus 40s anyway. So,
in Celsius, where does it start freezing? At 0? That's freezing.
The 0 is the freezing temperature. Yeah.
Yeah, minus 40. It's not.
Well, minus 40 is minus 40. I think that's where it starts. Like that's what the eagle. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was in minus 14 for 4 days on a location. It was horrible. And stayed in my truck for 4 days. We were doing some work. I couldn't leave, and I'd get out every half hour. As soon as I get out my truck, the coveralls and everything would just freeze within minutes.
Same way when I was growing up in Pennsylvania. Is that it? Only 2 feet of snow, school day here in Kentucky, less than an inch of snow, no school. Well, it all depends. Like, I'm pretty sure you guys don't have, like, same winter tires we have here. Or at least you're not used to driving the snow like we are here.
Yeah.
Like I said, we can go to work, drive, there's, like, 2 feet of snow. We don't see damn thing. We go to work, and for us, it's normal. Okay, we might get late because we have to drive slowly, but we're still going to work. Like, there's no way we're not going in.
Oh, if it's going to freeze down here, they basically shut it down. They shut school down. If it's going to be below freezing for more than a couple of hours, when they get on the bus, if it's below freezing, they're not getting on. Excuse me, they're not getting on the bus. They're not going to put the buses on the road if it's below freezing.
See, and here, like they will close the school. Don't get me wrong, they will if as soon as they see that the road is getting dangerous, because there's been a couple of accidents in the past, and there were some kids injured and hurt really bad. So people complain, of course, parents complain, and now they're shutting school for pretty much anything now. But we go to work, like it's just the way it is. Don't tell me you get cold shoveling. Yeah, but you like it gets warm, then you
start sweating.
Yeah, you start sweating. And it gets cold. And what I hate the most here is where I live. I'm in the middle of a hill, and I have stairs. Like you go down a few steps, and then there's little not a little bridge, but a few steps where it's just level, and then you go down again in front of the garage. But that's where all the snow, it seems like all the snow from the whole village gets here. Like I can shovel the stairs, go to work, And by the time I get back, my girlfriend will be like, "Well, I had to shovel again like twice, and I still have to shovel when I get back home." It's just insane. Like you can shovel like the stairs 4 or 5 times every storm, and we get like 2 storms a week, so we just never stop.
I was Sheen and I were dating. We'd been dating a couple months at the time, and I was at a friend's house in Ohio. We were working out in the woods, cutting some wood up for his fireplace, and she called. So I grabbed the phone. I start walking down a driveway, and there was ice on it. And I was already upset because I had to stop what I was doing to talk on the phone to her. And I made about 5 steps, and when I took the sixth step, I went instead of about 3 feet, I went like 19 feet, fell on my tailbone, hit my head, and she's
Ooh.
like, I was running for a second, like, no, 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 and then bump, bump, I fell. She's like, you all right? I was like, I gotta go before I tell you something really mean. Uh, I'm hurting, but yeah, I'm not a fan of ice and snow and nothing that like
Yeah.
that.
Some people like it. Some people like going like for a walk in snowshoes or go for snowmobile or go skiing. Like I used to go ski and it was all right, but I'd rather be inside or in the summer fishing, going to the beach, playing in the garden, go for a walk when it's nice. I'd rather do all those things than being out in the cold and like you can do snowmobile in the winter, but you can also do like ATV in the summer. So for
We
me, it's the same thing.
the area we were working at, there's a lot of farms and everything in Ohio, and there's all these old barns set off in the back of the hills, and all, I called them mountains, and I got laughed at. But there's all these barns set off in the back and everything. And the first time it snowed, I'm driving through, and I'm like, man, this is beautiful. It's so cool seeing them old barns set off in the back and everything. The second day, it's like, yeah, this is pretty cool. The third day, I was cussing it. I don't want no more of this.
When we get snow, we get the dog and sled out. Hi, Lewis. Thank you for dropping by. Yeah, for even my dog, like a little tiny dog, and she likes going in the snow. As soon as it snows, like the fluffy snow there, she goes in there, and you can't even see her. She's black and in the white snow, and you can't even see her because she just goes deep in the snow, and she loves it.
Yeah, we have a Norwegian elk hound that we purchased in Ohio, and we were planning on staying longer than we ended up staying. Sheena decided she was going to move back with me, so we moved to Louisiana. And he during the summertime, he really has an issue. There's about 4 days a year where he don't want to come in the house because he's enjoying the cool weather. Besides that, it's too hot for him.
Hello, Harvey Black too. Thank you very much for dropping by. I don't mind the cold. I can be out in -10 Celsius with no coat, just a shirt and a hood. But I wear long johns under my pants as long as I'm doing something.
Yep.
I don't mind the cold. You can get dressed properly and be outside. You're not gonna freeze. If it snows, like I keep telling everyone, if it snows, you get wet. You
Yeah.
get it gets cold. Like you can't go everywhere you want to go. Like I have my barn 4 minutes away, but I'm gonna have to walk down the hill in the snow because I'm not gonna pay a guy $3,000 to open the driveway to get to the barn. So I'm gonna have to go feed the animals Saturdays and Sundays and hope that they survive. They should, but I'm gonna have to overfeed them for a week and hope that they make it to the next weekend. I don't like snow. What are we talking about? We got the four wheelers with a plow on here in Ontario. Yeah, I had a four wheeler. I had to get rid of it for financial issues. I mean, it was paid for. I had some bills to pay, and at some point, you gotta realize that there's some more important stuff in life than going on drives on an ATV. But I'm hoping to get one back at some point. If I'm close to Dalhousie, yes, I'm about 10 minutes away from there. That's where I went to high school. Yeah, I work in Camelton, but I used to go to school in Dalhousie. My girlfriend is from there, actually. Yeah, very close. That's cool. So, one of the videos you made, you were fishing. There's a lake. Is it on your property or
That
close?
that we went to a friend's pond
Okay.
to fish, fish. She has it stocked, and she needed the fish are overpopulated, so they're not growing like they need to be. So um, we went fish, and it's actually some really good fish. We're probably going to go back. She told us we can't throw anything back. We have to take everything with it. So it wasn't huge, but there was some good eating. We fried some this week. We actually have the Lake Penior, which is where the Jefferson Island salt mine used to be. I'm gonna have to send you the little clip. Um, that was about 3 miles from where I grew up, where my mom and pop's place is. There was a salt mine underneath, and they went in there with a drilling rig they were looking for oil, and they actually drilled through the salt dome, and it collapsed, pulled all the water in. It was a big old thing. It's still pretty cool to watch. But we can go fishing in there also. There's a boat launch a couple miles up the road from it. We can also, there's the Vermilion Bay just south of us, about 3 miles. We can fish in there. That's another 7 miles, and you're out in the Gulf of Mexico, able to fish out there. When I'm at work, some of the platforms I work at, we can fish at. Catch. We caught some specks a while back, about a month ago, but the one I'm at most of the time we don't have. It's not often. We're in shallow water, so it stays dirty. It's not often we catch anything good to eat.
Cool.
There's a lot of good fishing. We fish. Oh, we have a bayou in the backyard that we fish out of. Catch catfish.
Catfish. Is it a good fish?
Yeah, some of them. There's different kinds. We'll catch mud cats, which you can eat them, but the taste of them's not real good. I mean, in a pinch, you can eat them. It's not bad. You season them up enough, you just kind of get a little mud flavor because they live in the mud and bury themselves. Yeah. They're a yellowish color. Then there's just catfish, gaff top, different varieties also that we'll catch. Some good eating, just kind of tough to clean.
Cool. Hello, Selge. Selge is the guy that is allowing me to put my animals on his property. He lives about 10 minutes away, but he has land about 4 minutes in my direction. So I'm actually closer to his land than what he is. I'm hoping that eventually he's going to have animals there, and I can repay him for all he's done for me, because it's been amazing. He's done so much for me. I can never thank him enough. Like I try to give him some chickens. I try to give him some turkeys. He doesn't want to have anything. He loves doing it. He goes in the morning, feed my animals. I go there after supper when I get back from work. Everything is taken care of. I just feed them a second time, put them back in. It's been amazing.
It's nice to have friends like that. People that think like you and want to do the same things. It's really nice.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because it was on Facebook in a few of the same groups as I was, homesteading groups, and there was a post where they were asking where people were from, and I said where I was from, and he's like, he came to talk to me. He's like, I'm from 5 minutes away from your place, the next village over. Like, how come I don't know you? But it turns out he's a little bit older than me. That's why we didn't know each other. But turns out like we know all the same people, and we want to do the same thing. So we started talking, and we became friends. And I'm going moose hunting with him. He's got his license, and I'm going to be the second shooter. So it's going to be pretty awesome. That's going to be another adventure at the end of this month. We're leaving. Like I said, the hunting season starts on the 19th, but I'm not going to work on the 18th, which is a Monday on the 18th. I'm probably going to go in the woods on the Saturday morning and spend the whole week there. So much fun. My dad's letting me take his trailer, so we're going to have some fun.
Yeah, I'm not big on hunting anymore. I haven't been since I had to purchase my license. I bought one license when I turned 16, and I haven't been back hunting legally. I mean, we'll shoot. When I was growing up, we'd shoot rabbits off the back porch at my mom's place. It's like, hey, we got a bunch of people coming over. Let's see if we can get a few rabbits. So we kill 8-10 rabbits out the backyard. The 22 and some CB caps and a spotlight. Besides that, duck hunting, deer hunting, and everything. When I got old enough to start doing that and I had to pay for a license, I was working. So just never really got into it.
And it's tough when you have to buy your license, and it costs, like, I don't know how much it will cost in your place, but it's like $40. and you're working all the time, and you might be able to squeeze in like a day or two, and then you realize it's not really worth it.
But my work schedule, a lot of people that do this, what I have, I work a 14 and 14 schedule. So I'm off 14 days a month. And a lot of people are really into hunting with what with the jobs we have. But I like staying home. I like being with my family. I like the garden portion of it. I like fishing a little bit. Colt likes it. So it's kind of, I'm enjoying that a little bit more than I used to. But just to go out and go fishing, I'd rather be in the property pulling grass and growing things. We, I'm Sheena's not real good. She's still learning. My wife, she's still learning how to water the plants. She waters the plants. It's wet on top, so she thinks it's good. So we didn't do real well this year. I actually have a friend, Rob from Primal Cajun. He's the one that actually sat down and broke everything down for me with the hydroponics. I met him similar to you. I met him on the Bayou Gardener website, and I wanted to do hydroponics, but everything I would watch, I was having an issue. My mind wouldn't comprehend how you mix the fertilizer. Went over there. He's like, I met him. We talked a while, and I went to his place, check out his little greenhouse he had. And he's like, you can mix chocolate milk? Yeah. He's like, look, dude, master blend right here. Half a teaspoon. Boom. Calcium nitrate, half a teaspoon. Bam. Epsom salt, quarter teaspoon. Bam. He said, mix it up. That's 800 ppm of fertilizer in a gallon of water. It's like that easy. It's people, and I have the same issue. A lot of people are like, oh, it's so hard to mix that fertilizer. It's easy. It's really easy. It'll get you in the ballpark. You don't have to buy a lot of them big technical instruments to check your ppm and a lot of things like that. You do want to follow your pH, but good people, really good people. Rob's basically, besides Pop, Rob's my best friend.
Cool. That's fun to have. And like where the Beginning Homestead says, it's good to find someone in your area that has the same way of thinking as you do. I've been showing some stuff to sales on his own property. Like, hey, there's an apple tree right there. Did you see the hazelnut tree right there? There's a lot of stuff that he didn't even know he had.
Time to Shine Homestead picked up like 60-something pounds of apples the other day.
Yeah. And I saw, like last year, I picked a lot. I didn't weigh them because I wasn't in shed water, so I didn't know. It's not some stuff I would check. But from the bags he had, I think he had like 3 or 4 bags for like about 60 pounds. So it's roughly 15 pounds per bag that he had. I think last year that's pretty much what I had, maybe like 5 bags plus, like I had the one tree here. This year, my apple tree is full of fungus. I'm not going to be able to get those apples. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do. Like Marilyn told me a few things to try, so I'm going to have to give it a go. But I found a lot of apple trees while grouse hunting last year. And when I got there, the trees, like the bears have already been to those trees.
Yeah.
So bear hunting season has started now. It started yesterday. I'm going to go to those trees and see which ones I can get and which ones the apples are actually good. I'm pretty sure I can harvest at least 100 pounds of apples, and it should be easy.
Yeah, we don't have that opportunity around here. Apples don't do well at all. The big thing, I love blackberries, blackberry preserves, blackberry jam. I love blackberries, so we're going to have a quarter acre of blackberries on the at the farm, which is going to end up being right at 17 rows, spaced 6 feet apart. Should put me right in around 500 plants, 400 to 500 plants. We're not going. I'm not buying all those plants. I was able to pick some up 2 years ago. There were some seedlings that they had started, sweetie pie blackberries, which is a really good variety for down here. They were on sale. The guy was trying to get rid of them on eBay. So I picked up a bunch of those. I think it was $80 for 80 plants and another $20 in shipping. And then this year, Ison's Nursery had the Ouachita, I think it is, blackberry. Okay. They were basically 2 for 1. So I picked up another 50 plants. I have some different varieties at Pop's place that I'm going to move out there. That's all that's all the blackberries I'm buying. The rest of the blackberries we're starting from cuttings. We're going to start new plants to put in. It's going to be a slow process to fill the whole thing up. My aunt, she has an amazing blackberry bush. It makes some big old blackberries. I'm going to start me one plant from over there. So we're going to end up, I'm looking to have about 6, 7 different varieties of blackberries, but it's going to be a long-term process of, propagating them to where we can fill in the rows like they need to be filled in.
Cool. I don't have blackberries, or I don't think I've ever had blackberries. I have a lot of raspberries, and I've been so busy this year. They're still there growing. There's a couple that are going to come out anytime now. There's some that they're past date. They're just rotten on the bush or the plant or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, there's only so much you can do.
Exactly. Like we were kind of talking, Lewis. No wrestling crocodiles yet. That's next month's crocodile wrestling season for us. Maybe I'll get a video.
Robert was asking me to go and ride a seahorse or something like that. There, I'm like, seal. Go ride the seal. It's kind of a long swim.
We grow muscadine grapes or scubanos. We do muscadines. There's regular grapes like for wine, like you'd see in the northern parts of the country and up there. Don't do well around here because there's a certain type of vine borer that basically kills them at year 3. It's hard to prevent, a lot of maintenance. So, but the muscadines are really good. I have 7 muscadine plants at Pop's place that I'm going to be digging up to bring to the property also. He hasn't taken real good care of them the last couple of years. So we're going to move them out to the property. That makes some really good jelly and some really good wine. Oh my, makes some really good wine.
Cool. Trevor, in what part of the province are you? I remember you being from New Brunswick. I'm going deer hunting in the Oromocto area, Fredericton. It's 2 weeks in homestead. Oh, okay, not for me. I have plums home, lots you can pick when ready. Awesome, just let me know. It's a time of year where the kids go to school. They need some snacks. Wild apples, plums, grapes, everything's going to be very, very welcome. With the cost of everything going up. I even have a coworker that told me that she doesn't do anything with her apples. She's like, if you want them, just come and pick them all up. I'm going to let you have all of them. Sorry. She's got plums. She's got, what else? Plums, grapes. She has a couple of grapes. I don't remember the name though, but anyway, I'm trying to get some to grow here. I just can't seem to get them going. That was a question for you earlier. I only asked you to pet a cute little seal, Remy. That was all Danny has promised me is going to pet an alligator. They are cute too. Yeah.
Grapes take a lot of
nutrients.
A lot of nutrients. Yeah, it's hard to grow them organic for sure. Very hard. They take a long time. And if you're gonna start them from a cutting, like you go and you cut it, if you're not gonna air layer it, there's a certain time of year to do it. Of course, it would be a lot different for us down here than it would be for y'all. So I wouldn't be able to, to give you any real tips on it. But air layering is the way to go. Just trying to cut it and stick it in the ground and get it to grow. It's not a really good method for starting grapes, at least down here.
Yeah, the thing is, the coworker that gave them to me gave a few cuttings to some people, and for them it worked well. For some reason, it didn't work here. So I don't know if it's because it wasn't full sun, because it wasn't. I didn't check. I don't think it has full sun the whole day. Maybe that's the thing. I don't know. I'm gonna have to check it out. I have a friend of mine that has the same type of grapes. He has this just one tree, and he has it growing like sideways on
Yeah.
pallets. All he has is pallets, and he says that you can make grape juice for himself for the whole year, just that with that one tree.
One tree. I think it's Kinfolk Farms I've been watching. He uh he has a muscadine set up, and I'm gonna mimic. I'm gonna with the muscadines. I'm gonna do the same thing he did, exact same thing he did, um, and I'm gonna mimic a smaller setup for the blackberries since they don't retain as much weight. But it's amazing. He says like off of one plant, he'll make 100 pounds of muscadines a year. It's really amazing. I'm looking forward to it. The thing with the property is, we wanted to sell a little bit of tomatoes and stuff. We didn't want to get into it right now. Kind of want to, make a reputation of having good tomatoes and good vegetables and everything. I'll be around 60 when Colt graduates high school. So I'm looking around that point to, leave my job in the oil field if I make it that long. But at that point, I'm going to get a job, Lowe's, Home Depot, something like that, something where I work, 30 to 40 hours a week, but I want to be able to still farm, have a farm, have it set up. But I want a reputation of selling good produce, good food and everything. That way I can have some side money coming in also. It just took off a lot faster than we ever thought it would.
Well, that's the way you have to think. You have to think about long. Like I keep telling everyone around me, my youngest son is 9 years old. I'm 39. If I go for another 25 years of work, that would bring me around 50 something there. Um, my youngest son would be 29. If I go for 20 years, it would be 29. So he'd be old enough to be on his own.
Yeah.
Hopefully, student loans will be paid for. Um, I wouldn't have to worry, and he's the youngest one. I wouldn't have to worry about him. So in 20 years, if I'm 59, then I can retire.
Yep.
That's what I'm hoping to accomplish. It doesn't mean that it's going to work out that way, but you never know. If I'm 59, I work at a hospital. We have full pension. I would have had been working for 12 years now. That would have given me 32 years. And then maybe, we'll sell the place here, buy something else, homestead full time.
Yep.
I would love it.
And that's
wherever I can have my animals and my garden would be amazing.
Yeah, I'm 48, so we're looking at Colt, 15 years for being out of college. So that would, in that amount of time, we should basically have, a house, the property. We're looking at a 7 to 10 year plan, paying the house, the property, all that off to where the last 4 years he's in high school, I don't have to work extra at work, or, I might even be able to leave working offshore to where I can be to the football games and doing all that. It's a big push. Sheena's in, she's all go on it. I really hate having a note. I went years without, if I couldn't pay for cash with it, I wouldn't buy it. And then I purchased my home, and, I like the home, but it's in town. We're planning on at some point putting a small 2-bedroom home, kind of a tiny home, somewhere around 500-600 square feet with 2 bedrooms, out at the property, and moving over there after Colt gets out of the house.
Sending me stuff made from blackberries.
I tried when I sent you the shirt. I was going to send you a jar of blackberries, but they made I brought the shirt and the bag and everything in. And it was wrapped, but they made a deal. They said I had to put it in a box or something. There was some reason, he kind of made a deal about it. He said send it over all the way over there, and it was like $35 more for having a jar with something that could leak or break in the box. So we're not going to send that. It's
Remy's a baby. My twins are 10 and a half. Well, my youngest son is 9 and a half. Not for me. Hello, Betty. Thank you very much for dropping by. The cake is a lie. Make your plans for retirement strong and early and on your own. Don't wait till you're old to enjoy a slower, more purposeful life. True. Thing is, if it was just for me, I would retire today, but I can't afford it. Um, like I don't know. For some reason, I've always told myself like we weren't put on this planet to just work. Like there's some people that love to work so much they would just go to work, work, work. Um, if I win the lottery tomorrow, you won't see me at work anymore.
Oh no.
I'm on this planet to enjoy life, and I work so I can have some time to enjoy myself. That's all.
Nope. And it doesn't have to be $100 million either. If I'd win $1 million on the lottery, I would. There's no way I'd be in the oil field tomorrow. I'd be done with
Uh,
all.
yeah, I think I would need a little bit more than a million.
Oh, I'd
Uh,
still work. I can't not work. Even with the property, I can't not work. Um, when my older kids, I got a 27 and a 22-year-old also. They're getting ready to be 28. I'm sorry. Yeah, 28 and 23. They're getting ready to turn at the end of the year. When they were growing up, I stayed at work because it was expensive with me not being with their mother. So I stayed at work. I'd go to work offshore. I'd stay out offshore 6, 8, 10 weeks at a time, come in for a week, then go back. Um, they had everything they needed, everything they wanted. And it's kind of they got what they wanted, but now it's kind of, they frown upon it because I was always working when they were growing up. But it's just, even when I'm home, I got 14 days off and I can't not do anything. If I'm not doing something, I'm going to end up start drinking. And if I start drinking, I'm going to end up at the bar. And if I end up at the bar, I'm going to end up divorced. So I'm always doing something. So if I want $1 million, I can tell you right now, I would be done working offshore. And Sheena's only 35, so she still has a long way of working even after I retire. I told her she can't retire until she's the same age I am when I retire. So if I work till I'm 60, she got to work till she's 60. That gives me an extra 13 years of, being by myself while she's working. Extra income, I should say.
Yeah. We always dreamed that everything would just fall into place and we would have the great life. There's one thing for sure. I would still homestead if I won the lottery. If I didn't have to work, I would homestead full time. Hello, John. Thank you very much for dropping by. Oh, right there.
John, you kiss any good fish lately?
He was talking the other night about a big one that he caught. Not for himself, though. I think his commercial fishing. Working when you really don't have to can be fun and frustrating to the bosses that can't learn. Yeah, can't lean on you too hard. That would be probably the best thing, like the best feeling ever. You don't want me to take off on Friday? Well, I quit. I'm going to work somewhere else. You either give me what I want or I'm gone. That'd be awesome.
I was, until I bought my home, that's exactly how I was. I mean, I worked all the time. So a hurricane hit and my platform got destroyed I was working on. So they called me. I'm like, please tell me you're laying me off. At the time I had my motorcycle. I was single. I'm like, I'm getting ready to go on a trip. I'm going to be getting unemployment that pays my child support. I'm like, got a pocket full of quarters and I'm heading to the arcade. Nope, we moving you somewhere else. I'm like, damn. All I had to do. Yeah, are you sure? Can you please just lay me off? I'll be perfectly fine.
I can drop your printer on the floor. Drop your computer screen on the floor.
I didn't want to get fired. I wanted to be able to collect unemployment, but yeah, that all changed after I bought the house. Now I have to be kind of, monitor what I say and be very mindful about it. Very mindful. It ends up, because for a long time it was just like, yeah, this is what it's going to be. If you don't like it, I'll quit. Can't do that no more. The last 15 years I've had to be good.
Guardian Warrior Q, you're only like 7 years older than me. calling me a baby. Come on now. Retiring next year, 44 years old. Soldier. If he's in the army, that's usually what happens. Not for me. It can fall into place. I have to tell you that story one day how I've left a job, 2 kids, single, mortgage, and no savings, and everything fell into place. I'm hoping that everything falls into place because what it seems that whenever I have something going on that's going well, there's always that one thing that comes and crush everything. And it's not because I think negatively. Like I don't read books, but I've watched the documentary The Secret, and I believe that if you are positive, positive things will happen. If you believe in yourself, like you'll be able to do great things. I keep telling myself that this time is going to be different. Doesn't seem to happen, but I keep thinking that it will get better at some point.
Well, no matter how confident you are, you know, or have a good outlook on what's going to happen, it's how you deal with something that happens. You know, it's pushing through is a big, you know, finding the right mindset to be able to push through and get through the bad section really helps when it, you know, when it turns around again and it starts moving in your direction, you know, a lot more. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah, no worries. I'm not easily offended.
Like John.
I can't say anything. I already was already what did he give me 20 pounds or 10 pounds off. I'm
Oh,
not. I don't want to talk bad about him. I
I
don't really.
talked about. I did a voiceover video. He didn't even talk about that in the video. He didn't even want to start. All he said was, "Oh, I've got you under control," but he doesn't. He was scared to bring that up. Get some more voiceovers. Those are fun.
It is always to be something, no matter what it is. Yeah, and just to give you an example, I was all like, okay, I'm gonna pay off my vehicle. I'm gonna have like that extra $200 bi-weekly in my pocket. It's gonna be fine. I'm gonna have more money to do more stuff. I pay off my vehicle. I go deer hunting. First thing, boom, blew up my motor. It was either I was gonna pay $1,000 right off the back, or I was gonna buy a new vehicle with like $200 bi-weekly payment. So I figured I'm gonna get a new vehicle.
Brett. Sorry, I was talking to John. I didn't.
I guess so, right? The mindset, yeah. It may not be what you're asking for, but you will get it. Yeah, I keep being positive about that kind of stuff. You mean you don't? I never said anything bad. I just said that I have to be careful what I say now. I'm learning, John. You see, I'm learning.
Don't let him train you.
I got suspended before you. I think you must have paid. Did you pay
I
off,
didn't
John?
pay him anything. I think he was just scared. Just leave it like that.
Um, like every single time that I drink beer, I have to go pee. I'm gonna ask you one question and head off quickly. You were talking before we were live about how you have to raise your house
Okay.
and mow under it. So I'm gonna let you talk about that for a second.
All
I'll
right.
be back.
Uh, yeah, we. I'm in like deep South Louisiana. Basically 3.5 miles from the Vermilion Bay. We have a lot of hurricanes and everything that pass through. We're in a low-lying area, so my house is like 6 feet off the ground. One of the most time-consuming portions of what we have over here with the farm or the homestead or you know whatever we want to call it is cutting grass. The grass grows a lot. When I went to work the last time, I was gone for 14 days. We had a lot of rain and the grass grew. 12 to 16 inches while I was gone out of the property. My wife was able to cut it over here. But one of the things we get to do over here that probably doesn't happen in many places is I have to go under my house with the push lawnmower and cut the grass because the grass and the weeds literally grow under the house. So that's something that I was talking to Rim about early, and it's really time consuming. Today I went to the property or the farm. I need to start calling it the farm. Went over there to cut the grass, and we had issues with it. A lot of issues. My lawnmower's been giving me issues, burn up belts, and a lot of things. But 5.5 hours over there cutting grass and sweeping grass to be able to get it knocked down and get it where it needs to be so we can keep up with it.
I think it was 20 pounds for onions, but how much was it for potatoes? Was it 50 or 20? John, I don't remember. I will get both. Well, I'm hoping to get the onions.
We're going big next year with the onions, the garlic, potatoes. This year it didn't do well with any of it, but we will be. We're going big. All the garlic I picked last year, we're planting all that. I have 3 different varieties. We're planting all of it. Just we're going to have people that ask for it. I gave a few cloves away. We got a bunch of people that asked for that. The kids enjoy planting the potatoes, so we'll be doing that. And the onions, we're starting. Well, Rob's starting them for me. It's going to be close to 2,500 seeds. I'm not sure how much we're going to get out of it, but whatever we get is going in the ground. So should make the 20 pounds pretty easy.
Yeah, it's something that I've never really had in big quantities, and I never weighed them, so I don't know how much it will weigh. I'm guessing I have about 100 onions total, so I don't know if that's going to give me the 20 pounds or not. I have some red onions. I have some white onions, some yellow ones. If I'm not there, I'm going to be pretty close. But on the potatoes, I'm there for sure. I mean, I already have 37, and I only have like half my bed dug up. So
that was cool. Your potatoes where they popped up from the year before, and you were able to go in and got some good potatoes out of them. That was
yeah. I got like an extra pound here in my own garden. Plus, I got an extra pound from the community garden, which was potatoes from someone else last year. When I started planting my stuff and I saw that the potato plants were coming out, I'm like, that might be tough to grow some carrots in there. Plus, it was full of bugs, so I had to go and fortunately for me, I was lucky enough there was only like 4 or 5 plants coming up, at least at the time, at the same time. So I was able to kill all the bugs. And when I went to dig all the potatoes, I ended up with an extra 1.5 pounds maybe of free red potatoes. So that's pretty cool.
We use a lot of onions when we cook. Basically a quart bag. If I'm cooking for the family of 4 we have here, we use a quarter bag of chopped onions almost every time. So we're going to go really big with what we plant. I don't want to have to buy anything. We're going to have to process it all because they don't last with the heat and the humidity over here. So we have to process them, chop them up, and put them in the freezer. But we've also had, with the farm, people ask, they want me to grow collards next year. So I need to learn how to grow collards more along the lines of when to pick and what varieties they like than how to grow them, because you stick them in the ground over here in the fall and the spring and they grow well. It's just, having the right ones that the people like, and spinach. And we're going to, at some point, we're going to have a lot of variety with everything we have. We just purchased a pound of green bean seeds and a pound of pink eye purple hulls. We really like that. That's stuff. It's a lot of things that we're going to want to put up for next year, in the freezer or in cans. It's going to be fun. I'm hoping that it's not as much not as time consuming dealing with the people as it was this year, because it really takes a lot of time away from, making the videos and showing what we're doing, and
Mhm.
also doing stuff. It really does.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Tracy. Don't worry if you're late. There's no such thing as being late. Just the fact that you showed up, that's pretty awesome. Are coyotes a critter or a problem in the area? If I go hunting, or if I go, I will never go in the woods when the sun goes down without a gun. And even with a gun in my area, the coyotes are. There's so many of them that it gets scary. It's not something that I've ever been worried about until 5 6 years ago. I was moose hunting with my brother and my dad, and we were hunting in a cutting, and my brother went on one side, my dad went on the other side, and I figured like I'm the only one without a gun because you can only have two guns per license. So I went back to the truck and I was waiting for them, and then my dad came pretty much running, and like he has a bad knee. He needed a surgery in his knee a couple of years back, so he can't run. He came back running, and he's like, "Where's your brother?" I'm like, "I don't know. Like he's in the cutting there somewhere. Like he needs to come back because there's a bunch of coyotes following me." For my dad, that was about 60 years old at the time, to be scared of a bunch of coyotes. He's been in the woods, like he's been in the woods for his whole life. He had a 3006 in his hands. That was telling me that there was a lot of them, and from what he told me, they were getting closer and closer, and you could like kind of see their shadows in the
Wow.
trees. That was a scary moment for him. So I can only imagine how bad it must be. We've seen a lot more of them this year, in the past few years than we've ever seen before. So for me, and I saw one. I have a short video for my members only. I don't know if you've seen Danny, but there was one right at the ball field,
Wow.
coming right behind the houses. Like they're everywhere now.
We used to have a lot of them down here when I was growing up. You used to hear them howling every night, every night, every night. But the area's grown up so much in the last 35, 40 years that and I mean everybody over here has a gun. You know, 22s and 30-06. Somebody sees a coyote or they hear a coyote, they're gonna put it down. It's part of what you got to do if you're raising chickens, any type of farm animals, which a lot of people have around here. You just don't want them, so they've thinned them out a lot. They trap them along with the wild hogs. They trap them, so it's really not that big of an issue over here anymore. You go south, 3 miles around. We call it the Bay of the Marshy areas. There's some in there, but they don't tend to come up into especially in the town. When I grew up in the country, about 5 miles north of here, it's grown up so much that you don't have the issues with them.
Dog pony break. We use a lot of onions, but I've never been the kind of guy to use onions. For some reason, I never liked them. I figured I was going to try to get used to them, and when I started eating them, it was going to give me gas.
Yeah.
I would hurt like so much, and get like cramps and all that stuff. Like I figured I was going to need to get used to it. I can cook with them. I cannot eat them raw for sure. I can cook with them a little bit. If there's a few small pieces, I'm okay. But more than that, like I'll eat it in a salsa or something like that. Put it in I'll put it in the blender, and if there's tiny pieces, I'm okay. But beside that,
When we
hello, gardening.
when we cook with the onions, we make a gravy with it. So by the time we're finished cooking and the meat and everything is cooked down enough to where it needs to be, you don't even see the onions. They're it's a mush in the bottom to make the gravy that we put on the rice. I've never had issues as far as gas or even heartburn, anything like that with them. We love it. We go through a lot.
That's pretty cool. I went deer hunting a few years back with my cousins, and they put onions on everything.
Yeah.
Basically, they put onions in their macaroni, on their steaks, on
Oh yeah.
potatoes, anything. I'm like, what's the point? You're eating a steak. I know a lot of people do it, but like, I love meat so much. I'll never try to change the taste of meat. Like,
Well,
but
we grill them on the side. Like I'll saute them down, and I don't cook them down as much as I do in a gravy. But when we do it with steaks, we put them on the side because it's kind of a filler, to where you don't eat $30 a ribeye. You only eat a small portion of ribeye. So it's just extra stuff to eat on the side. I don't put it on top of the steak.
yeah,
But
but there's still a lot of stuff I grow in my garden that I don't personally like. I do it anyway because I want one, I want to get used to the taste, and two, there's someone in the house that eats it. Um, I don't like tomatoes. I'll eat ketchup. I'll eat salsa, uh, stuff like that. But tomatoes, just like that, I can't. My daughter eats them like apples.
Colt
That's
brings
her
it to
favorite
school.
snack.
He brings his lunch to school because he doesn't like a hot meal. He likes it room temperature. Um, so he brings his lunch to school, and when we're growing tomatoes in the greenhouse, he'll bring him a quart bag of tomatoes cut up, and he eats that for lunch. That's all he'll eat for lunch. Teacher's like, "You want something else?" He's like, "Nope." I have. He brings a corn dog with him every day in case he wants the corn dog with it, but he'll sit there and eat all them tomatoes. He loves tomatoes, cucumbers. He'll eat broccoli, but he don't like the texture.
It's okay, Marilyn. If you want to go to bed, go ahead. Yeah, like I have 36 pounds of tomatoes so far, and like I've beaten my previous record by like 35. The greenhouse, like when I got into YouTube 2 years ago now, 2 years and a half, I didn't really know what I was doing, and that was kind of what I was hoping to do. Follow me, let's learn together. Like I don't know where I'm going, but if I can manage to do some cool stuff, anyone can do it too. And that's pretty much what I've done. Like I trials and error. I've learned from some people. I've learned from everyone in the chat here probably at some point. Um, been to a conference in Ontario. I've talked to a lot of people. Marilyn, Annie from Back to Basics Homestead, Robert, John. Like I watched the videos to learn about what I do wrong with the stuff I have growing, and turns out that I'm now doing videos and people are watching, and like it's cool because people now see me around here as a guy that knows how to garden. But 2 years ago, I didn't know anything.
And that's what it is. It's people like, where you learn how to garden? YouTube. Everything I know right now I learned from YouTube, because when we grew a garden with Pop, I mean, we made some beautiful plants, but we never made vegetables. Tomatoes, we'd grow some beautiful plants, and the tomatoes would be little bitty, and they would never turn red, and it's just always a mess. And I still really, with the 1,500 square feet of greenhouse and the buckets I have, I should be somewhere up between 3,000 and 3,500 pounds of tomatoes. So I'm actually only about halfway where I should be on average with the tomatoes growing in the greenhouses. So it's a learning experience. But everybody's like, "Oh my God, that's a lot of tomatoes." It is, but it's still not where it should be. It's learning every year, trying something a little bit different, because it's not a one size fit all. Just like we said earlier, talking about the greenhouses, it's not a one. I can't watch with the greenhouses. I can watch someone up with the hydroponic greenhouse. I can watch someone up north that does it, and it'll be similar, but it won't work exactly. And I have to set up my greenhouses to where it's more user friendly for Sheena when I'm at work. I can't have a greenhouse that she's having to go out there and spend 3 or 4 hours a day in it when I'm at work. It just doesn't work. So, we kind of have a hybrid of what a lot of people are doing, but it works for us. And as long as we keep getting what we get, and we're happy, but we're going to keep trying to
Get
increase it
more.
every year, and find that sweet spot to where it works out, similar to what everyone else does.
Yeah. And we're the beginning homestead, one new thing a year. This year I've tried a few different varieties of squash. I love squash. I don't know if anyone caught that by my video so far. I love squash. I have like 70 squash harvested so far. I'm not gonna let them go to waste. We put them in soup. We put them in the oven straight up. Cook them like if it was a pizza. I can eat them raw. Pretty much any way. Like I'll eat them. I've also tried cucumber melons for the first time. I was able to harvest like a handful of them. They're pretty good, but I don't think I will be growing them again. The thing that I'm most proud of this year, if John or Robert were to ask me what's the thing that I'm more happy about, is the fact that I was able to do a little bit of everything. I learned how to forage. I was able to forage some mushrooms, fiddleheads. I'll be foraging some more apples. I've been doing some blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, the basic berries. But then again, I've been learning a little bit more. I've been pushing myself. On the farming side, I've done pretty much the same amount of pounds. Been doing the turkeys, the chickens. This year's been going better than it did last year. Uh, Same with the garden. I have about 200 pounds in each category. Fishing, I didn't go hunting yet. That's the only aspect that I didn't do anything, but that's my life. I was born. I can't say I was born with a gun in my hand, but that would be kind of weird. But my dad brought me hunting when I was like 3, 4 years old. I've been hunting my whole life, so to me, going moose hunting, it's guaranteed that I'm gonna get a moose. Like I would probably come home literally cry if I didn't have a moose in my freezer at the end of the hunting season. I'm gonna go grouse hunting, rabbit hunting. There's bear hunting. This is probably the thing I know the most about, and I haven't done any of that yet. So I don't know. It's just fun.
Hunting's harder than gardening. If you know
Yeah.
all that, you're a step ahead of a lot of people. Really, hunting is it's really hard to learn. Especially in different areas. But
And for me, it's not about how hard it is. It's about how much time I have.
yeah,
Black bear here in Canada, we're allowed to bait, so I can just go build a little stand in a tree somewhere. Just make sure that it's protected so that a bear can't come from behind. Have to feed them, even if I just give them like fish or a bunch of old rotten muffins or a bunch of old fruits or whatever. If they come for 5 days in a row, they have their habit. They're done. You go every day for 5 days in a row. The bear has an habit. It will come back. You go in the stand. You wait there. He's gonna come. Boom. It's gone. That's 100 pound of meat in your freezer right off the back.
nice.
The hardest hunting we have here is deer. In the States, I know you guys have a lot of them. You're allowed to kill does, and there's a lot of deers. But here in New Brunswick, there's like we're only allowed to kill the bucks, and they're very, very rare and hard to get. The ones that we have are very big, therefore very old, therefore very smart. So we can't get them. But the moose is a draw, and if you get a license, I mean, it's like almost guaranteed you get one. If you're really trying, you're gonna get one.
The deer population around here is starting to come back, but they cleaned them out, years ago. They're starting to turn around and monitor it a lot closer. It's there's not a whole bunch of eating for it because it's all sugarcane fields and they don't eat sugarcane, so they don't get real big. In Ohio, where I was working, I had friends that had hundreds of acres, and they would actually get extra tags to go out there and thin out. I didn't. You, go buy a $20 hunting license, and I can go kill 5 deer in one day, just because they need to take them off of the property. They have too many on the property, and it's huge compared to the stuff we have down here. But it's just not something I ever wanted to do.
And we have the same issue here in New Brunswick, like especially in the south of the province. Like up north, there's 3 zones that are closed for deer hunting. Like you're lucky if you see a deer every year. If you go down south, there's a lot of them. They give away a few doe tags so that the farmers can harvest a few deers. But that's the thing. Everything down south is private land. So we can't go hunt down there. Unless you know someone, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Okay, Marilyn's gone. Thank you very much, Marilyn. If you're watching the replay at some point, thank you for being here. Every year there's something else to learn, some challenge to overcome with the soil or weather or pests. It's never boring. Yeah. And my neighbor could be doing something that's not going to work on my property for X reason. So what I have here, what you have on your property is specific to you. Maybe the sun hits in a specific way. Maybe there's more wind. Maybe there's more shades. Maybe, there's more rain or more water. Like there's always something different everywhere. So you like you said earlier, you can be watching a bunch of different videos, but you might have to adapt a little bit of every single video to make it your own, like to make so that you know what to do, because everything is so different everywhere.
Yep.
So it's wonderful. I don't know what that is, but I've had maybe 10 cucamelons about that big, and there's 7 of us in this house. By the time everyone tried one, there wasn't much left to do any sauce. I don't know what you was talking about.
John stirring the pot.
Yeah, he's trying to cause some trouble there. I know it's hard for you, sir, but please try to be nice while you are here. We don't need to.
Tell him, Mr. Robert.
Yeah, the captain is backing us. Marry me, I think I sold the house. Awesome. So what does that mean for us, Serge? Does that mean that there's going to be a tractor on the property so that I can open the driveway to go feed my animals in the winter? That's awesome, though. For you, I'm very happy. Serge had, at some point, bought the house next to his. So he had 2 houses, but he only needs one. So he was able to sell the second one. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
Well, I must have. He seems pretty calm tonight.
I'm always calm. Except for karaoke night, I will say.
YouTube University is so powerful. Then it's time to do it yourself. That's where it all kicks in. Yeah, I've been watching a lot in my gardener. He knows all the different kind of stuff there is to know about plants. I don't know where he got all that information, but it's simply amazing. But like I said earlier, I have a little homestead by the beach, Marilyn. There's also Annie from Back to Basics Homestead that I talk to pretty much every day. There's always some kind of issue that I have that they help me with, whether it's only to recognize what kind of squash I have growing there. When is it going to be ready? There's always something, and they always seem to have an answer for me. Okay, it's a sauce usually made from cucumbers. It's a Greek sauce, I think, but really yummy, made from cucumbers if you get enough. Yeah, I'm not gonna get any cucumbers this year, from what I can see. Just wait.
The whole chat right now is about me.
Yep, stone face cat. Guys, leave him alone. Let me be bad for him. And all thanks to me, I worked hard.
Do y'all grow molitons up there?
If you grow what?
Moliton, it's a vegetable pear.
I'm guessing not, since I've never heard of it.
Uh, I'm trying to think. There's another name, chayote, maybe
Nope.
in Spanish. Um, it kind of has like a potato texture. It's really big around here. They pickle it and use it with spices and everything. People put it in gumbos and different things like that. Um, it's really it's something that we're going to look to grow on the property. Also, I was just wondering if y'all grew that up there. If it was any, I know some of the stuff's kind of you Canadianian like me. Um, so I didn't know if some of the stuff like that was up there as well.
Maybe it is, and I'm just never heard of it. I don't know.
It's they got green and white. Kind of looks like a pear almost, not round, but kind of shaped like a pear, and it's got ridges in it and everything. I'll send you a picture on Facebook.
It could be you're talking about that, and Ben Cummings, a friend of mine from the Fredericton area, posted a picture today about something like that. He wasn't sure if it was a pear or an apple, and he cut it in half and put a picture on Facebook. And it was kind of weird. It was the first time I would see something like that, and it said something about being like Japanese or something like that. I don't know. It could be it. So if it's that's what it is, then yes, there's some growing around here, but I've never seen any in my area. He's about 3 hours away from me. Strained yogurt, usually from sheep or goat milk, mixed with cucumbers, garlic, salt, olive oil, and sometimes lemon juice, and dill or mint or parsley. So there could be a lot of things in there, I guess. Never heard of it. Tzatziki. I don't even think I can pronounce it. Stone faced means very calm and unmoved. It might be just patient. Maybe Danny is getting ready to bust out and become like the Hulk or something.
Let's see if I can show you if the picture will come out with the crap.
Okay.
Get it out of the.
Yeah, I can see. I've never seen that.
Yeah.
It could be what my friend was showing earlier.
The it's really good. We like I said, they pickle it. I'm not a fan of it pickled with hot peppers, really spicy. Um, but it's a big thing around here. Those go for like $6-7 a fruit. I stopped in at the Asian market the other day to look for some seasoning, and they actually had some dragon fruit in there. They're $14 a pound right now, which is basically $8 to $9 a dragon fruit. Crazy.
Yeah, chayote squash. That's what it looks like. It says that
Yeah,
it grows in Mexico, Honduras, and Guatemala.
chayote squash. That's how it is. It is a squash, now that he says it.
It might be too cold here for those.
The vine borers. Yeah. Even down here, we have to cover them in the wintertime. It sends out shoots from the root system. It grows out on a long vine, similar to a grape vine, but
Okay.
then it all dies back at the end of when wintertime hits, and you got to cover it, remove everything, then it sends out a new shoot the next year, and it goes crazy.
But the fun part about being up here is that uh, yes, we have short growing seasons, but there's so many things available to us. Like I keep telling my friends, if you go back like 200 years ago, there were people living here. There was no planes, there was no helicopters, there was no train. There was no way to bring food from Mexico to here, and people were surviving. They were living. So there's got to be a reason. Like they were able to uh, have a garden, but they were also able to hunt, fish, forage. There's so many things in the wild. Like in the forest here, there's um, we've only tapped like maybe 2% of everything there is to know in the forest. There's so many things you can eat. Like I'm pretty sure if I get lost in the woods in my area at least, I could survive as long as I wanted to.
The issue with that, a lot of people's like, say poop hit the fan situation. Oh well, we got hunting and fishing. That's only going to last so long. Back then, a lot of people, there wasn't a whole bunch of people living in the area, so it wasn't overhunted. It wasn't, um, it's great to have and it's great to know, but to rely on that in any type of emergency situation, besides the fact of getting lost and staying out there for a week or so and being able to surviving long term with the amount of people they have in the areas now is would really be tough. Really.
Yeah, if there was, um, we're in a province of about 750,000 people. If everyone started hunting the 60,000 moose that we have, there
Yeah.
wouldn't be any left.
Yep. It wouldn't take long. And I've had discussions with people about that around here. Oh, we got shrimp and yeah, the shrimp only lasts so long. You know, you have everybody that's trying to eat shrimp or eat fish, everybody's fit. It won't last. It won't last. There's a lot of cows around here. How long do you think they're going to last? Well, in the area we live in, that's fine. But if you go 25 miles north to the big city, they're not going to stay over there. There's nothing. So they're going to start moving down. I don't want to get set up on that type of talk on this. It's just, it popped in my head and I couldn't keep it out.
No, but I mean, I agree. Like, if there was, I don't like saying someone in charge, but if there was a group in charge and everyone would follow the
Yeah.
rules, and people that were fishing would keep on fishing, the people that were hunting would keep on hunting, maybe there would be like a balance and we would be able to survive. But if everyone just goes out there and try to kills everything that there is to kill,
Yeah.
then it wouldn't happen.
And a lot of the issues fall into place with that is people kill a moose and say there's no electricity, then they can't eat a whole moose in, a day or two. So it starts getting wasted. They don't want to share it.
Yeah. And like Tracy says, like if there's only one person going hunting, then it makes sense. You could survive.
Yeah.
But if there's like 300 to 400 other people going after the same animal as you, then we might be in trouble. And I keep saying, if I go moose hunting, if I had my license every year, there's no way that I can go through moose by myself. And I have a family of 7. And there are some talks right now in Canada about the Métis. That we have native blood, and I'm not going to get into that, but there is a possibility that at some point maybe I would be able to go and harvest a moose and a deer every season. But if I ever got the chance to do that, no matter how that would happen, I wouldn't go and get a moose every year just for my family. I would get one, share it with my parents, my brother, and
Right.
my brother-in-law. Because you get a moose, you get like 400 or 500 pounds of meat. You can share that.
Yeah, that's a lot of meat. That's probably more meat than you would eat, in a year.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
close to it.
I got about 400 pounds last year because we were kind of lucky, but at the same time unlucky. We struggle to get a license every year because it's a draw here in New Brunswick. And last year, my mom and I both got our license at the same time, same year. We got 2 moose. So that was my mom's moose. She shared it with my brother and I. So it was about 400 pounds of meat split in 3. The one I got, my parents don't eat as much as we do. They didn't want to have anything on my kill. So it was a bit bigger, almost 500 pounds of meat split in 2 between my brother and I. So I ended up with about roughly 400 pounds of meat. We didn't go through it all yet, but we're almost there.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it, but we had a lot of grinded meat, so we go through that pretty quickly.
I forgot to say at the beginning, we also have chickens out here, but we can't process them. the kids won't let. That's pets. All we can do is eat the eggs from them. We have about 20 chickens on the property over here.
So there are they like dual purpose or really like Cornish straws meat chickens?
Just some regular, and the ones we order about 6 to 10 a year. Um, with the bird flu they had going around this year, it was pretty big in the states. We ordered 20 of them, and uh, when we let them out, we lost about seven. So we have about 25, 28 of them right now total. They're just brown egg layer mix is what we ended up getting this year. The cost was high, really high. So we just went with that. It was the cheapest option for brown egg layers. Um,
Yeah.
but the kids use them as pets. My daughter will go sit out there for hours with the chickens, just sit in a chair playing with them.
I I have a goal in the next few years. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I'm working towards this. I would love at some point not to have to buy the meat chickens from the co-op here, and simply have like my dual purpose birds.
Right.
I have an incubator here that's doing pretty well. The success rate, I don't like to say 100%, but it's been doing a great job. If I could, my goal would be to have like four different kind of chickens. Right now, I have the Rhode Island Reds, but I only have two roosters for the moment. I had four chickens, and they died. I'm gonna get some more. I have a friend that has some, so she's gonna give me some eggs or some chicks at some point. I have the barred rocks. Those I've had for a while. I have a few roosters. I have a few chickens, a few hens, and I can get them going and keep the rotation going.
Right.
Uh, I have also the partridge Chanticleer. And what I want to do, I would like to have the Buff Orpingtons as well. So I would have those four breeds: the Chanticleer, the Barred Rocks, the Buff Orpingtons, and the Rhode Island Reds, and get the roosters and the hens going. And every time you have chicks, you let them grow. It would be a little bit more expensive on the feed than what you would get with the regular meat chickens, but then I wouldn't have to worry about buying the chickens. I would eat the roosters. They get pretty big pretty fast, and keep the hens for laying or breeding or whatever. That's my goal anyway, to have it enough to get like the wheel going. Um, I'm hoping to get that
The
done.
older hens that quit laying are some good eating also. Um,
Yeah,
you
that
just
too.
you got to cook them a long time because they're tough. But a lot of the times we'll get the when I was growing up, we get the laying hens, and that's what they would when they would slow down on production. That's when we would process them. That's what goes in the gumbos or in the stews, stuff that you cook. You put it on the stove and let it simmer all day long, pass by and stir it. That's what they put in it. The older hens or the roosters that were little old, stuff that needed to be cooked for long periods of time. Some really good eating after it's tenderized.
Yeah, I tried the rabbits for the first time about a year ago, and the rabbits I had was a little bit too old, and the meat was tough. It wasn't that good, and pretty much everyone in this house thought that it was like, okay, you're not gonna get us to eat rabbit again, like it. Um, so I told them, okay, I'm gonna try something different. I took it out of the freezer, same group of rabbits, the same age. It was the same age, so it was just as tough meat as the other one. I put it in the oven at 200 Fahrenheit for about like 2 hours when it was still frozen. After 2 hours, I put it on the barbecue with some barbecue sauce on it for about an extra hour. Oh man, was it good!
All the difference in the world.
All the difference in the world, just the way you cook it. And
Yep.
everyone in the family was like, "That was really good. Like we want to eat that again." They went from not ever wanting to eat rabbit again to like, "Let's do it again. Like we need more of this."
Yeah. And
So with
it's
chicken,
finding the right way to eat, older animals. Like we know with a laying chicken or an older rooster, you know, knowing that it's great for a gumbo or stuff that you're going to sit there and simmer. If you're going to try to fry it, it's going to be horrible. If you're going to try to bake it, it's going to be even worse. But it does work well in gravies and anything that you're going to cook for a while. Same thing with the rabbits. Slow cook it for a while and throwing it on the barbecue pit. That's amazing. I've also seen people that boiled the rabbits. They'll put it in a pot, quarter it, or however they're going to put it on the pit. They'll put it in a pot, boil it for 30 minutes to an hour till it starts getting soft. Then they throw it on the barbecue pit and turn around. They season it and everything, and it tenderizes it a lot.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. Like most of the time, while games, like we have grouse here, rough grouse. If I go and put it in a chicken burger, for example, or grouse burger, whatever, it's stuff. It's stuffed meat. If you put it like in a fondue, you can't see the difference between that and chicken. So it's just a matter of how you want to eat it.
Right.
And we always have a fondue on New Year's Eve, the whole family. So we have moose, when we're lucky, we have deer, but that didn't happen too much in the last couple of years because I think the last one we got in the family was in 2014.
Wow. It's been a while.
They're hard to get, but we get a moose, if not every year, every second year. We get grouse, and then we'll buy like from the store pork and beef and stuff like that. There, it controls all the hunting license bag limit and creel limits on fishing, and there's just isn't enough animals and fish to feed everyone. Mating pairs on the homesteads are important. Yeah,
I'll be right back.
perfect. Okay, thank you very much. Where to begin a homestead? Thank you for dropping by, Janice. Okay, feeding the animals in should hit the fan situation is an area I am beginning to study where you can buy food for humans. Feed for animals will probably be out of the question. Yeah, that's also true because we keep thinking that if something happens, okay, I have the farm, I have the animals, I have the garden, but if there's no store, you can't find the seeds, you can't find the feed for your animals. Like it's one thing to be self-sufficient with like for yourself, but you have to think about the garden, you have to think about the animals, and you have to keep all that in mind.
And people taking it from you.
Yeah, people will try to steal from you. There was a Quebec movie, a French movie from Quebec there called Jusqu'au déclin. I don't remember the name in English, but it was about a guy that was a prepper, and he was trying to teach people how to survive. And that's one of the things he had in mind. People are going to go and try to steal from you.
Yep.
And the movie is all about how accidentally there was someone that exploded. He was trying to build a bomb, and they got scared that the cops was going to get to them, and they wanted everyone to keep things between themselves. And some of them, of course, wanted to get away and go tell the cops, and like, we're going to get in trouble. They're going to find out, blah, blah, blah. And they were stuck on the property because the way he made it was that he put them blindfold to get them to the cabin.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of trails going everywhere where people would have like booty traps everywhere. And it got me thinking, like, if something happens, people are going to come after your stuff. They're going to come after your garden. They're going to come after your animals. Like, you have to be ready. I mean, I'm not saying you're going to start to hurt people and, protect your stuff, but it's going to happen.
Look, I picked this today. That's a dragon fruit. It's a new variety. What I wrote down the number on it to see what it was. The video I did, I think I put it out where we were picking the dragon fruit. I think it was today.
I think so.
We picked like. I'm saying, I'm sorry.
I watched it today, so I don't know if it was today or yesterday.
Yeah, the day before. But we picked like 10 dragon fruit, and they were all overripe. We had one of them that we were able to eat. We tried to do a taste test on them, and there was different variety. There was three different varieties or four different varieties. They were all over ripe. Uh, it was today. I actually put the video out and juicing with Jay. Uh, because we're still learning with the dragon fruit also, we don't know a whole bunch. He says 4 days after it starts changing color is when it's time to pick. So we picked that one today to check and see.
There's just a bunch of stuff going on in the chat there. Um, I have nothing against it, but I simply love my meat. That that's the
That,
main reason. Like,
as far as being a vegetarian, um, or a vegetarian, it would work for a while. I just think that a lot of people are so used to, you know, being a vegetarian and having an issue where, you having things aren't able to be gotten as easy. It would be a lot easier to transition without starting it, long term. But I'm not able. I couldn't do it. I like meat way too much myself.
yeah, and you start thinking about the like proteins and stuff like that. Like you can't eat like peanuts and stuff like that to get like the extra nutrients you need. It would be hard to get for us here. Um, of course, in 2022, I hear a lot of people saying that there are other alternatives, but if everything goes to those alternatives are not going to be available anymore. That's the thing. Well, that's the way I see it anyway. Like I'm don't
If we
don't
had to, we would. We could do it. We'd lose a lot of weight fast.
So I don't know about you, but it's been about 2 hours, and I don't know who John is, but guys, let
Wait, see, where's that at?
Tracy saying, "Okay, guys, I don't know who John is, but guys, let's let Marshmallow makes his own decision and get back on topic, please." It's all about Shed Wars, Tracy. Homestead Aquarius and Will It Grow are the two captains, and there's always something happening.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a great community.
That's not only fun and games. I need to complete protein. I see many people raising their own rabbits in cages for meat.
Just the rabbit.
Yeah, the thing about rabbit though, they don't have enough fat, so it wouldn't be sustainable eating only rabbits by themselves. At least that's what I read, and that's what I saw in a few videos. Oh, I need my animals' protein. A vegetarian diet makes me extra stabby. There may be a day that comes I have to, but I pray it's not soon. Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. Like I don't talk to me about eating like tofu or something like that. There, I need meat. No worry, Tracy.
I
No
don't eat
worry.
a whole bunch of meat, but I like meat when I eat. I've actually been eating a lot of grits lately, more than kind of on a grits kick, and surprised how much meat I'm not actually eating, and I haven't fallen over yet.
Yeah. Yeah, Tracy, you've been tough, not knowing what's going on. And imagine someone being from the outside of Shed Wars and seeing that conversation, wondering what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
We eat fish and sea creatures, eggs and dairy too. Tofu's garbage. Yeah, I agree with that last thing there. It's true. Like, I mean, I'm not saying there's no way to make it happen, but for me personally, I just simply love the meat too much.
It's not something I would want to do.
No, like, and when you're born and raised like I was into hunting, like there was a live stream a couple of weeks back where I think Tracy was on Back to Basics Homestead live stream, and he said that if you don't feel anything when you butcher an animal, you might be a sociopath. And I'm like, eesh,
Yeah.
that might be me right here. I can't say that I don't feel anything, but I kind of got used to it, and it's kind of to the point where I don't think about it. It's just it's food on my plate. Like I will never hurt an animal just for the fun of it, or if I don't intend to eat it. But when
Right.
it's food, it's just okay. You're going down. You're going in my plate, and that's it. Like there's no process going on in my mind. It's just it
It's
happens,
the way
and
we were brought up. There's a big difference in killing an animal just for fun or processing food for food. And I'm the same way. It's the kids get upset. Even putting an animal that's hurt out of its misery doesn't bother me anymore because it's been done so many times over the last, it's almost 50 years I've been doing stuff like that. Um, it's not that I don't feel anything about it, but it's stuff that it needs to be done. It's
and
food is food.
yeah, and even the kids here to start to understand that. The first batch of kits I had, first rabbits I had, they were all like, "Oh, they're too cute. We can't eat them, Daddy. Like, we want to keep them." I'm like, "Okay, we'll keep them, but you have to take care of them. Some of them are gonna be breeders, and gonna need to you're gonna need to help me feed them and water them, and like, okay, well, at first it was all right, but then they were like, it's not so much fun anymore. I'm like, well, you wanted it, you got it. And then we got a few more litters, and they were just like, okay, Dad, well, like, we understand now. We're always new babies, and they're always going to be cute, but then they get older, and we can eat them. That's fine. And they kind of got used to it.
Yeah, we with the chickens, we had a little issue. Maya wanted the chickens and Colt wants the chickens. And at first Maya's like, I'm not gonna feed them. I'm not gonna feed them tonight. Well, you're not gonna eat. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm just not gonna eat. I'm not gonna feed them. Okay. And I'll go into the shed and get the hatchet. Well, what you doing? I'll come sure. I'm going. If I'm gonna feed the chickens, I'm gonna feed myself. But what you doing? I'm gonna kill them. We're gonna slaughter them and we're gonna put them in the freezer. I'm not going out there. I don't want them. I have no issue with putting them in the freezer.
No, like I, I'm okay. Like I never judge people, and like I even have a coworker that told me the same thing as Sales told me. Um, he doesn't want to kill the animals, and that's fine. He doesn't want to go hunting, and that's fine. It's not for everyone. Um, Sales invited me to go moose hunting with him because he told me I'm getting old. Like I'm getting more sensible. Like I don't want to hurt animals. I don't want to kill it. You get the gun and you put him down. Once he's down, I'll go and I'll help you get him out and getting in a truck. And that's okay. Like I said, I have a coworker that doesn't want to go hunting, but he'll eat meat, and that's fine.
Yeah,
And
it's
yeah,
perfectly fine.
barbecue is good. You
John,
must.
I'm not doing anything you ask unless you say please first.
Hi, Tammy. Thank you very much for dropping by. I haven't seen you too much lately.
Hi, Miss Tammy.
Been busy as well, I guess. We're all busy at this time of year. It's finally starting to cool off a little bit. Uh, I don't know about you, but I was walking in my kitchen today. Like I have some potatoes on the counter. I have some potatoes in the corner in a few bags. I have some eggs on the counter that I didn't have time to clean and put in the fridge yet. I have a bunch of zucchinis and squash and tomatoes next to the window on a table. Some beans, some uh, carrots that I didn't have time to put in the fridge. Like there's so many things around that I didn't have time to get to. Like it's insane. I know I'm probably not the only one. Uh,
Right now, the only thing we're picking is eggplant. We still have a couple watermelons left and chicken eggs. Everything else is pretty much done right now. It's
okay.
just been too hot.
Yeah, we're still for me the most hard like the biggest harvest season is August. From around the 10th or like between the 10th and the 15th of August, it picks up. Like it starts, and until like now, I'm starting to look at the garden now, and I'm pretty sure like it's mostly over. I harvested pretty much all the squash I could. It's going to be time to harvest my carrots because there's something eating them right now. The potatoes, the same thing. I'm gonna have to get them out of the ground because something's gonna go and get them all. My corn is pretty much ready. I've been harvesting about 2 pounds of tomatoes every day for the past 3 weeks.
Nice.
It's not much, but it's been steady. A
That's good.
few squash, a few tomatoes, a few zucchinis, a few carrots, um, peas, beans. Like it's just a little bit of everything all the time. I get about like a dozen egg per day right now. Um, I have to get to my rabbits. I have to put a few rabbits in the freezer. I just don't have time to make it. And tomorrow we have our end of the season softball party. I'm not going to be home very much, and no, I don't know what I like. Sunday, someone's coming over to teach me about canning, so that might help me put some stuff away. But I don't know, like, don't have
There's
time to do.
always something going on. Like we were talking about before, the deck on my lawnmower, it was falling apart. It was rusted through. I spent close to probably 14 hours rebuilding the deck. It wasn't. I couldn't weld on it with my MIG welder, so I had to use the gas and a acetylene torch to be able to weld everything, and I had to patch it with small pieces of iron. Ended up using welding rod. It's every time something seems to be going right and you're catching up, there's always something that like kicks you back a couple steps.
Mm.
Always something.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be a good thing that's happening. Like you wake up the next morning and they're okay. I have to go harvest my beans, or I have to go harvest my squash, or and you end up with so many that you fall back anyway, like for a good reason, but you're still behind on what you have to do. Yeah, I agree with that, Tracy. I know a lot of people that will even pray to the animal when after they kill it, say thank you, and um, I'm not saying that's me. Like you all know, I'm not a really a religious person. I don't judge anyone that is, but that's just not me. I put an animal down. I will make sure it doesn't suffer, and that's it. Like, okay, you going in the freezer. I don't like wasting. I'll eat whatever I can eat. Yeah, like I respect the animals, I respect the forest, and I respect all the other hunters as well. Like that's how I am. No internet, no electric until I get solar panels, and the phone is not even 1 bar of service. It's probably very very quiet. Yeah, but sometimes you need that. You need that time away. Big Brother is not clean. I'm clean. Okay, not talking to me. Um, quiet is nice. Yeah. Um, Maybe the last question before we go off. Um, you've talked a little bit about what you want to grow in the future, but is there anything else that you see coming up in the next year or next few years for Cajun Hydroponics?
Man, it's like building the property and getting it. I don't want to say so much as a food forest, but we do want to have it to where we have blueberries, a couple orange trees. Uh, I'm trying to maximize the space to where we can still go out there and ride four wheelers or go karts when I have grandkids. Be able to go out there and have friends over, and the kids go pick blackberries or pick blueberries, pick figs. It's long term prospect of it is to, it to be pay for itself, long term. But we also want it to be able to have fun and enjoy it, have family time out there at it. It's gonna be a lot of work getting to where it's at, but as far as the next few years, that's what we're gonna be working on. Is, getting that set up for us to be able to, have those family get-togethers out there and have the kids out there and be able to pick blackberries, make blackberry jam, more tomatoes, cucumbers, um, stuff like that. Because the older my kids get, my oldest daughter's married. My second daughter is, she's been dating the same guy for almost 4 years. And when they finish college. They're planning on moving to Texas. They're going to get married at some point, it looks like. Um, the They just keep bringing more people home, so it takes more to grow. More production, more stuff to be able to share with them. They bring stuff to their in-laws, um, and you know, teaching my son how to grow and be, you know, be able to do that. In 20 years, I might not be here. He might need to grow stuff, need to know how it's done. So teaching him, teaching my third daughter, the 15-year-old, teaching her how it's done. It's hard to get her to do anything but play with the chickens. But we try to get her out there, and when we're doing things and going along with that, teaching my wife. She's 13 years younger than me, so trying to get her involved with it. That way, she's able to grow stuff if I'm not around. It's all. I love family time. I really love family time, and I try to do as much work as I can before the family gets here, so that we can, more or less work, but not have to work. If that's, I try to get all the hard stuff done to where we're more picking and able to talk about the fertilizing schedules or the watering schedules and stuff like that when everybody's home from school and off of work and stuff like that.
Awesome.
I don't think it answered your question.
It did.
Close enough.
Yeah, close enough. I love waking up in the morning and stepping outside into the quiet mornings. Yes. Same. I've been going to the community garden lately in the mornings, drink my coffee, and simply just look at, like, there's a big field behind the garden, and it's just like, okay, like, I'm just gonna relax, drink my coffee, enjoy the sun. And it's like, oh my God, like, there's nothing else in the world for that little moment there. No worries, nothing, like, no stress. Of course, you have to come back home at some point, and I know I have the kids to care for. But usually when I get up, it's 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning.
Oh my, I would love to sleep that late. I'm an old man, 3:30, 4 o'clock, if I'm lucky.
Wow.
But I get up, I put my pot of coffee on, I go sit on the front porch, and it's normally pretty quiet. Even though we live in a small town, it's normally pretty quiet, and I'm able to do it.
Yeah.
I would like to talk about Shed Wars, before we knock off.
Sure. Go ahead.
John asked me to talk about my shirt. The shirt is basically kind of a play on Shed Wars. I got nicknamed the Swamp Rat last year in Shed Wars. And this is the Swamp Rat. There was a local, hard to believe, a local ice hockey team that was actually called the Swamp Rats here in Louisiana. Really fun to watch. But I took that and kind of ran with it. John never really got a name. He went from Johnny Boy, Goat Boy, Borat. He really did look like Borat in the onesie, the mankini. But it's a group of people that get together. This year we had a lot of new people. Rim was one. It's a growing community. We make videos and stuff, talk about how we're doing, try to teach. The main thing is each video that you put out labeled Shed Wars is to be teaching somebody something. Whether you do it yearly or not, somebody's going to catch that video down the road and be able to learn from it. And if they notice the Shed Wars hashtag, they're able to go to the Shed Wars hashtag, and they could start searching. They find channels that they didn't know about. They'll also find things that they might not have known about. It's a really great community. You make a lot of friends. I mean, you're not going to sign up for Shed Wars, get picked on a team, and hit 1,000 subscribers the next day. Everybody that's growing is basically in the same predicament. We all have a whole bunch of time during the wintertime to watch a bunch of videos, but when it's time to start gardening or picking, we're all kind of in the midst of trying to find the happy medium of watching the YouTube videos and supporting everybody as much as we can, while also keeping up with our gardens and our daily lives. So it's not something that, you can blow up on YouTube with. I'm not saying it can't happen, but it's not something that you should look forward to if you choose to join Shed Wars. But I can promise you, you make some great friends like Rim. I made some great friends from last year, Q and Angie and Kenny at Abundant Acres, Mr. Robert and John. There's a lot of really great people. Where to Begin Homestead. I'm blank right now, but everybody has their own little niche in Shed Wars. Rebel Canners also. Everybody has their own little niche of kind of what they're doing and what they're showing, and it actually, for me, it keeps me motivated, because when we're busy with the garden, we're real busy, and it's hard to keep track, even to make videos, much less watching a whole bunch of videos. But at the end of the season, I'm able to go back and watch videos from the people I've known, the people I've met, the people I've made friends with on here, to be able to go back and watch what's going on. And it keeps me motivated when we're not in the growing periods, so Shed Wars is fun. There's a lot of really great people. Sometimes we do voiceover videos. There's a lot of there can be making fun of, if you want to be part of it. If you don't want to be part of that, it's not a big deal. I don't mind being called a swamp rat. John gives out names, and it's a shout out, really. He does the marshal's office, and it's a great way to do a shout out. Don't take it wrong. If you do get called out with it, and you finally get a name, that's what we were looking forward to last year, was if you got a name, John noticed you, and it's great. Teaching the world to grow food, like Mr. Robert said, trying to teach the world to grow food again and have fun doing it. It's really fun. And, you have a community of like-minded people, basically. You have a community of like-minded people. You can bounce stuff off of them, and you can get ideas of how to do different things. I never seen anyone growing in a raised bed, honestly. And then I started watching a few videos, and I wanted to try it. It didn't work out for me, not because it was grown in raised beds, because the soil I filled them with was crap. But it was something I spent a lot of time watching a lot of videos, a lot of people with Shed Wars last year. And, I didn't get into Shed Wars the year before, but I was able to watch people that grew on them. There's a lot of interesting things that go on. Kinfolk Farms, they have the muscadines, grapes. That's something I've watched every one of his muscadine videos, multiple times. I've watched more of his muscadine videos than anything else, because, when you're in the growing season, it's hard to keep up with all the videos and everything. So you kind of notice what you're interested in at that point, or trying to learn a little bit more at that point, and you try to keep up with those. And, that's the good thing about Shed Wars. It is what you make it. I'll put it like that, to finish it off. It is what you make it. If you want it to be fun and exciting and enjoyable, it'll be fun and exciting and enjoyable. If you're trying to join it to get 4,000 hours of watch time and 1,000 subscribers, it's not the place. You can enjoy it and have fun, but that's probably not going to happen. Not at this point with Shed Wars.
Yeah. Not saying that it can't happen. It's not going to, it will help. It might not get you there, but it will help.
It does. It does help. I just, a lot of the people.
You can't count on it.
A few people last year that ended up walking away from it, not this year, last year, they came in and they got 20 or 30 subscribers for it. And, they left because they wasn't getting the watch time that they expected, and this year I was trying to put that out when we talked about it. I was really involved at the beginning, had a lot more time with it, to be able to talk about it. And, it is what you make it. People were complaining, well, I'm only getting 30 or 40 more views than I had before. Well, you should be excited about that. Not everyone has the time at this point to go back and watch the videos. It's nice when, my videos at the beginning of the season with the tomatoes, nobody has tomatoes growing in Shed Wars. So it's like, I get a lot of views, I get a lot of questions, and it's it's fun. But then about 4 to 5 weeks later, everybody's elbows deep in their gardens, planting and everything, and the views drop and the watch time drops. But it's just it's like that. That's how it goes. It's part of the process. And then once the wintertime hits and a lot of the gardening and everything's finished, the views are going to pick back up again on the stuff that I actually put out last year.
So
I do YouTube for fun, and it's something I should have talked about at the beginning. I didn't get into YouTube to have a big channel or anything like that. When Colt was born, I had the greenhouse we were just putting up, so I was videoing it and putting it on a computer. You would not realize how fast you fill up a 1 terabyte hard drive with videos. And it wasn't nothing. I just, I'm old. I'm not in the best shape. I'm not in the best health. I'm not skinny by any stretch of the imagination. No matter what John says, me being a physical freak. It's so I wanted to kind of video things as I was doing it to be able to show him if something happened to me before he was old enough to remember it. And I filled up a 1 terabyte hard drive. One of the guys I was working with offshore is like, put them on YouTube. It's something easy. It doesn't cost you nothing. You never know what's going to happen. And, I started doing that, and it was like a year and a half into it. I didn't promote it. I had like 125 subscribers at a year and a half in. And then I did a video for a homemade, basically took 2 pieces of iron and 3 pieces of wood, bolted it to the back of my tiller, and made a row maker for the tiller. It attaches to the back of it. And it kicked off. I've got like 500 or 600,000 views on it right now. So it's really cool, but it's not something that, I at no point do I ever think that I'll be interested enough in YouTube to do anything more than make friends and to be able to visit and talk about what's going on and just save videos for my grandkids and, my kids or whoever wants to look at them. That's all it is. It's not about making the $10, $12 a month that I make off of YouTube. I'll put it back into subscriptions to people and things like that. It's not something that I like. I'd rather share that money back.
that's awesome, and you've said everything perfectly. I couldn't have said it better. And
Thank you,
I,
Tammy.
I was talking to Robert earlier, and I was telling him about that guy, that I saw at the gas station. There's so many people lately that I didn't even know were watching me. There's a few kids around here that know me because I'm on YouTube, and they're like, "Hey, this guy is on YouTube. Like he's famous or whatever." Like, I'm not famous. I just like don't care what people say, and I just go out there and do my stuff. And if you watch, you watch. And like Tracy always says, like if you look at me and you laugh, well, you're still giving me one view, and it's still a
Yep.
good thing,
Even if it's a thumbs down, it's still a view. You watched a little bit of it enough to give me a thumbs down.
Exactly. And the fact that there's been a couple of people lately in the past 2-3 weeks have been telling me, "Hey, I've seen this video where you did that," or "I've seen your video that you shared on Facebook where you were doing this," or asking me questions about YouTube, like, "You make money? How many subscribers you have? Like, it's pretty cool you're doing this, and have you seen this?" And have you like, there's like 15, 20 people lately that's asked me that, and it's people from my own area. It's pretty cool. People are starting to get involved in the homesteading life a little bit more, and starting to be a little bit more interested in the whole subject. So that's one person at a time. That's how we're going to get it. If we can teach one person to do a better job at growing tomatoes, well, that's a step in the right direction for me.
Even not doing a better job at growing, get someone excited enough to be able to try.
Yeah.
Give it a shot. And that's the main thing. A lot of people that I speak with, not so much from YouTube. Sheena's more recognized on YouTube than I am. Apparently the people around here go to the Dollar Tree a lot, and they're like, "Hey, aren't you the lady you're the queen? You're Danny's queen from Cajun Hydroponics." It's happened to her like 4 or 5 times, and she's scared to death every time it happens. I'll be walking through Lowe's every once in a while and I hear somebody saying, "Oh, comment ça va, YouTube?" But um, but when people ask me, well, how you do this and how you do that, it's a learning process. I can tell you what to do, but you have to know what suits you. You need to start. That's the main thing. Put something in the ground and start growing. If you're not growing, you're not learning. So
Exactly.
I can't tell you how to do it. I can show you how I do it, but I can't tell you exactly what's wrong or what's happening or what's going to happen until it's in the ground. I can't help you with it until I see what you physically have going on, where you have it planted.
And sometimes something that might seem pretty obvious or pretty easy for you might not be the same thing for someone else. I had one of my coworkers telling me at some point, I thought you needed to put the seeds like very deep in the soil. She put it
Yeah,
like a carrot seeds like 2 inches in the soil, and she was wondering why nothing was growing. Well, I'm like, yeah, if you don't know, if you're not sure, plant the seed as deep as the size of the seed.
correct.
It's a small seed, put it on like very, very top of the soil. If it's a bigger seed, put it just a little bit deeper. That's the way I've always done it, and it's always worked out for me.
Yeah.
Um,
Sheena did that the first time we were planting. We had just moved back from Ohio and we were planting stuff in the garden. And she'll sit there and put seeds in all day long. But she sat there, put tomato seeds in that deep. She stuck them, every one of them, like, we got to replant. None of them's going to come up. None
and
of them.
like I said, for some people that's not obvious. For us, it is, but for some
We've
people,
been around. Yeah,
yeah,
she'd never grown anything. Never.
yeah, they don't know better. Like,
Yeah.
and that's where we come in. We have to teach them the basic stuff and some more um, advanced stuff so that they know how to start, how to keep growing, and how to finish it up. Like a lot of people start doing videos so their kids can watch later.
Yeah.
I simply started because it was okay. Let's have some fun and let's do this.
That was the whole thing. And like I said, I have a whole terabyte of videos. They're not real good, but I have a whole terabyte hard drive of videos from when I first started in the greenhouse. I didn't even know what YouTube was. I mean, honestly, I'm not a big. I have a flip phone and a lap and a computer and stuff like that, but it's more to watch. Not a flip phone, a smartphone, but it's more to watch, especially at the time. It was more to watch videos and movies, than it was to watch YouTube. Till the guy told me about it, I'm like, I knew of YouTube, but short of getting an email every once in a while that had a link to a YouTube video that was funny or something, I never messed with it. It wasn't something that I would go to daily.
And it's funny that some people make a living out of it,
Yeah.
and they make a lot of money, like a lot of money. Question for you there.
Yeah, I'll shoot you an email, Q. It's gonna be a little bit. I've got some medical issues to take care of in the next month or so.
Many people are like shiny new truck that never leaves the pavement. They need to know how to grow their own food. I pray they are learning. I've seen a lot more and more people in the past few years being interested in that kind of stuff than ever before. I don't know if it's because of everything that's going on or simply because it's like, it's a wheel, it goes, it comes, it goes,
Yeah.
it comes. It seems that our grandparents were doing it, our parents kind of stopped, and now we are doing it again. Um, I don't know. My kids are way more interested in that kind of stuff than I ever was, and it's simply because my parents were not into it. That's
Yeah,
all.
and you make it fun. You make it interesting.
Try.
I ain't gonna lie. When my parents did it, it was horrible. It's like you're gonna go out there and you're gonna do this, and the coat hanger was sitting on the fence, because the garden was fenced in, and it wasn't fun. They didn't make it enjoyable. They didn't explain what they were doing, why they were doing it. It was you're gonna go out there and you're gonna do this so we can hurry up and get it done. And I try to make it fun with Colt, and even pulling grass. It's like, I bet you I can pull more grass than you can. And I got to let him win because he won't do it again for 6 months if I don't. But it's keeping him right there and keeping him interested and motivated to doing stuff. Even putting up his own clothes. We started when he was barely walking. He'd go put his own clothes up. And my oldest daughter, her husband's niece and nephew, they won't do that. I'm like, when they're young, you get them started and you make it fun. It's just like that. I'd run to the room with him. Come on, let's go put it up. And I'd run to the room with him. Now he didn't even think. His mama gives him the clothes. He goes, put it up. We go outside to pull grass. He gets in there and starts, but you got to watch because he'll pull the plants too. He's still learning to identify the plants, but you make it fun and enjoyable. The kids will like it.
And especially if they like the food that they're harvesting. That's
exactly. It makes all the difference in the world.
It's crazy to me how everyone says YouTube community. I never understood until I started making videos. Yeah, it's like a brand new world that's opened up to me. When I started on YouTube, I made so many friends, and like really good friends, and some people I've met, and they're like pretty much brothers and sisters now. When I went to a conference in Ontario, and to me it was just like, okay, I'm going there to meet some people. And when I got there, it was like we've known each other forever. It wasn't weird. It wasn't like, hey, nice to meet you. No, it was just like, hey, thank you very much for dropping by. Big hug, and okay, let's have a beer and let's hang around by the fire. I'm gonna cook supper and
meeting like-minded people.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yep. It's easy to communicate with people that are interested in the same things that you're interested in.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know, it feels like everyone, even if you don't see things the same way as everyone else in all the different aspects, it seems that you can at least sit down and have a decent conversation about that kind of stuff.
Right. Even though you don't agree on some of the way, like I get a lot of people that argue with me about hydroponics is the devil. And I'm like, let's sit and talk about it. I'll explain to you. And, chemical fertilizers aren't the best, but I can tell you that the production I get from the chemical fertilizers, and I'm straight. I tell people it's a chemical fertilizer. But the amount of food I get by using it, outweighs the cost. I don't use regular pesticides. To me, in the readings and stuff that I found, you have more issues with chemical pesticides than you do with chemical fertilizers. That's where you start seeing the poisons get into the food and get into your body and stuff like that. The chemical fertilizers doesn't have the drawbacks that you see from the chemical pesticides. And to each his own. I'm not gonna down someone that takes 100% organic and puts hours and hours and hours into making half the stuff that they could if they would use different types of fertilizer. Some people around here, they won't use chicken fertilizer. Even though it's organic, considered organic, you read on the back, nope, it's chicken fertilizer. It can't be organic. It's chicken poop. So it's just, everybody, but you can sit down and have a discussion about it when it's people are like-minded. You can sit down and have a discussion and talk about it. And, most of the time people won't get mad. You see what each person does.
Thank you very much, John. Just a quick note on that. I don't put too many videos in that section because I don't have time at the moment. But I kind of like to put stuff that's unedited or stuff that I don't necessarily want to show everyone. Like the karaoke night I had with like my daughter and not my nephew, but my cousin's nephew. That we're singing together. It's not something that I want to show the world, but it's something that I like to enjoy and share with the people in my membership area. I kind of like to show different things that I wouldn't necessarily show on my YouTube channel. Pick different pictures. I try to go and show some behind the scenes stuff a little bit more. So thank you, John. Thank you very much. And I keep thinking that it's only 99 cents. You know, if I get 100 people, fine. If not, I'm so thankful. I'm gonna have to go and redo my introduction video now.
Damn it, John! You see what you did?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go and do some more work. But I give a shout out to all my members. We'll show your logo. Uh, if you have a chance, John, I have you on Facebook, and I think you have my email as well. Just either send me your picture or your logo, whatever you want, whatever you prefer, just so I can make the introduction and put your name, Will It Grow. I just have an introduction video saying all my members. I'd like to put your logo or your picture, whatever you prefer.
I can send you the picture for him.
I don't know if you would like it though.
Oh, he'd like it. It's him and his mankini.
Thank you very much for dropping by, Dave. Another one of my members. We were almost done. I have a big weekend coming up, big day tomorrow. If things go according to plan, I will be learning about pressure canning on Sunday, and I want to try to go bear hunting on Monday. Not necessarily bear hunting, more like going blueberry picking and have my gun in case. But you never know, like a bear could be in the cutting somewhere, and prefer having a rifle to protect my family. And we have the big softball party tomorrow. It's kind of pretty cool though, because we pay $30 at the beginning of the season. We play twice a week, all summer long from June until we're actually still playing now. And then we have this big party at the end of the season. Everyone together, free beer, free pops, free chips, free chocolate, free fried chicken, pizza from our local restaurants here. Can't go wrong with that. It's all fun. So yeah, if you want to add anything now.
I pretty much talked about everything. I want to thank you for having me on. I really enjoyed it. It was great. Really was. You know, chatting with you, talking about, you know, what we have going on. It also makes me think about stuff that I need to get started on, you know, because time's going to get short very soon on what we need to do. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it. Everyone in the comments, the questions, appreciate it. Even John. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here. And thank you, everyone in the chat. We didn't have any spam tonight, which is pretty cool. Sometimes I have a few porn stuff coming up, and it seems that once they start, they just never stop. And we didn't have any of that tonight, so it was pretty fun. Thank you, Gardening Warrior Q. Thank you very much for dropping by, everyone. It was a fun night. And on that, I will let everyone go, say goodbye, and I will talk to you all later. Have a nice weekend, long weekend. Thank you,
Take care,
Tracy.
everyone.
Next member, I will donate 5 packs of Shawar seeds for free. Awesome. Cool. Thank you. That's great.